Test mic. Test mic. All right, all right. Magandang araw po sa lahat ng ating mga viewers. So far, we will try to encourage more viewers before we start. So officially siguro mag-start tayo by 3:20. So we have 8 minutes before we officially start. Doon po sa mga hindi nakakakilala sa akin, my name is Tariq. I am the CEO and founder of Limitless PH, and today I volunteered to be one of the online lecturers na alam ko ay marami naman sa inyo na naglo-look forward dito sa mga topics na dinidiscuss namin or dinidiscuss dito sa Teacher A page. So kindly do us a favor by liking the page, and please share this video. So let us reach more people para mas marami pa tayong matulungan at mas marami pa tayong mapag-sharean ng information. So in case you don't know, ang topic po natin today would be economics. So this is still a branch under social science or social studies, and yung magiging discussion natin for today will be all about the basic economics, and later I'll tell you exactly what we will be discussing. So dalawang point po ito, no? This is a two-part session for today. We will be discussing about the basics of economics, macro and the two types of economics, and yung differentiation ng kada branch of economics. And we will also be discussing about the what do you call this? The normative and the positive economics, and the PPF. So medyo importante yung mga i-discuss natin today. Medyo maganda yung mga pag-uusapan natin. So before we officially start, I want to acknowledge the presence of some people here. So yan, medyo marami na tayo. Continue to like and share the page, please, para marami po tayong ma-reach. So again, we will start officially by 3:20. So we still have 5 minutes. So right now, I just want to acknowledge the presence of everybody here. So May Regine Tiausoni, hello po, magandang hapon. Cherilyn Melicor Malabanan, magandang hapon po sa inyo. Taga saan ba kayo? Pwede ba paki-comment yung inyong mga location kung saan lupalop kayo sa Pilipinas para ma-acknowledge naman natin yung mga lugar nyo. Tsaka kamusta ang COVID ECQ sa inyo? Kamusta ang COVID cases? Dumadami na ba sa inyo? Or so far, maganda ba yung ginagawa ng LGU nyo para ma-contain? So meron tayo dito si Loreto Agbayani Balikaw Jr. Hello sir, magandang hapon. And Marivic, isa sa mga top fan. Marivic Mario and Caroline to, binaliktad lang yung pangalan. No? Kasi Caroline, hello, magandang hapon. Sam Soriano, Ruel, of course, our teacher A, Aquino Iron, si Tete, hindi na pangalan. Pachi, si Ruchi, isa sa mga students ko sa Limitless PH, magandang hapon. Maron is here. Lindy, Roldan, si Tita Diana Tenswan, Prince Edmark Alagao, Philip Gabales is here. Vicky, good afternoon sir, si Vicky. Watching from Kuwait. Oh, nice. Dati akong OFW. Galing ako ng Middle East. Nagtrabaho ako sa Saudi. So, magandang hapon dyan. Magandang umaga dyan sa Kuwait, no? Lynette, hello sir from Isabela po. Jessa from CDO. Hi, from Cagayan de Oro. Kamusta dyan? Kamusta sa CDO? Sa Kuwait pala, Kilindi. Kamusta dyan sa Kuwait? Kamusta ang cases dyan? Kasi ang balita ko, medyo nako-contain naman yata ng government, no? Sa Saudi kasi ang dami ng cases eh. Nag-full lockdown na rin sila eh. CDO Cagayan de Oro, si Caroline watching from Marikina. Si Rika ay from Bicol. Teka, hindi pa pala natatanggal yung aking banner dito. Just give me 1 second. Yan, so Nymphia, good afternoon sir, watching from Cebu. Maayong hapon po sa Cebu. Maayong hapon, Cebu and Davao people. Magandang hapon po. Okay, John Roy is here. Watching from Puerto Princesa, PPS. Hi, Puerto Princesa. Kamusta dyan? Balita ko, medyo nagkakaproblema daw kayo sa electricity tsaka sa tubig. Kung di ako nagkakamali. Tracy, kapatid ko nandito, and Micah, Kalika, only few places lang ang lockdown. Isabella Kapili. So share nyo lang po, no? We still have 2 minutes before we officially start. So dun sa mga bago, dun sa mga shout out of course kay Teacher A. Shout out kay Teacher A, of course, si Roel Atun na from sa ngayon ay nasa Saudi Arabia. So i-share nyo lang po, no? I-share nyo lang po yung video para mas marami pa tayong matulungan. So again, ang discussion natin tonight is basically a generalized theory, a generalized view of economics. Hindi naman po tayo magiging hardcore. So this will not only help those students who are trying to pass their exams. This will also help majority of the Filipinos to actually understand what economics is all about and how it's really affecting our daily lives and how controlled po nila dito extend ang ECQ until May 10. Okay. Until May 10. Sa Kuwait. Okay, sa Kuwait nga pala to si Lindy. Hi sir, watching from Coronadal, South Cotabato. South Cotabato, magandang hapon sa iyo dyan. Galing ako dyan, galing kami dyan, nagkaroon ako ng lecture, nagkaroon ako ng session dyan sa Coronadal. In fact, with our, actually twice na dapat pero yung pangalawang beses di ako nakasama with the broker na partner namin. Christian Joseph, Jealous Antalisas, humor is here. Thank you, sir, from Kalinga. Yes, from Kalinga. Sige pa, mention pa, saan pa? Sino pa? Mga taga-saan kayo? Mga taga-saan kayo? Hello, sir, watching from Isabela. Hi, Isabela. Kitch, hello, magandang hapon. Hi, Isabela. Ano pa? Ano pang mga locations natin dyan? Para ma-acknowledge natin yung mga locations nyo. Meron bang taga Davao so far? Ito, meron na ngayon. Yung isa sa mga estudyante ko si Gilbert. Sino mga taga Davao dito? Good afternoon from Alaminos, Laguna. Okay, medyo south part, no? South. Ako rin, south ako. Sa Alabang kami, Muntinlupa. South part. At from Davao, yes, of course, si Gilbert. Ang aking isa sa mga students. Okay, continue to like and share the page habang tayo po ay magdi-discuss. So we will start na, no? Continue to like. Davao del Norte, si Giselle Lee. Magandang hapon, maayong hapon po sa inyo dyan. So continue to like and share the page habang tayo mag-start na ng official discussion. I-share nyo lang po to reach more people na nakaka-affect. Of course, yung pag-uusapan natin tonight, it's not only for those who are studying and those who are taking exams. Yung especially yung mga nagtitake ng LET, ng LAT. Alam ko majority of you guys majority of you students here are actually taking or about to take LET exams. So licensure examination for teachers. So hindi lang po para dun sa ating mga mag-e-exam itong topic natin tonight. In fact, today. In fact, itong topic natin today is actually for everybody, every Filipino, because what we will be discussing, again, it's a generalized theory of economics. So meron tayong mga point of discussion, merong mga malalalim na mga information, of course, madidiscuss ko, pero I assure you, everyone can relate. Tapos by the end of the discussion, by the end of our sabihin na natin, by the end of our drills, I will also tackle a little bit of information about the Philippine government and Philippine economic performance so far since 2009 or until 2019, before all this COVID issue na happened. So medyo marami po tayong i-discuss today. So I guess we should officially start. Now, if there's anyone here that is actually a foreigner, if there's any foreign person here who's streaming or who's tuning in right now in our live session, please let me know so that I will try to speak in English straight. But because the teacher A, the founder of this Facebook page, actually told me that there's a possibility that we will have some African students attending today's session, because we have some African economic students that will probably attend the session, and I will be more than glad to of course explain the topics in English if in case meron tayong mga in case we have foreign people here. So please let me know, or just comment on the comment section if meron tayong mga foreigners, para we can give consideration, of course, to you guys who are, of course, you don't speak Tagalog. But nevertheless, kung wala, magta-taglish po tayo. Yes, sir. Please speak in English. I'm from Madagascar, Denver. So si Denver, isa po sa ating mga online lecturers, no? Kahapon lang nagkaroon siya ng, I think it was Saturday, nagkaroon siya what was your topic? I think it was Philippine law and agrarian. Hindi ko sure kung ano yung naging topic niya. And we have here, hello sir, from Davao del Norte. Yes, paborito kong lugar ang Davao. So sa mga taga Davao po, again, maayong hapon sa inyong lahat. And mga taga Cebu, maayong hapon. At doon po sa iba pang mga, kung saan pa mga lupalop ng Pilipinas, magandang hapon po. Ako po again, si Tari Gutierrez Tensuan, and I will be your online lecturer for today. And we will be tackling about economics. Okay? So we shall start para medyo magkaroon na tayo ng head start at medyo makapagsimula na tayo ng discussion dahil medyo marami-rami po tayong pag-uusapan. So, pagpasensyahan nyo na po, I will give you a warning as early as now. Pagpasensyahan nyo na po kung medyo mangangapa ako dito sa app na to kasi yung StreamYard, it's something, it's actually new to me. Okay? Ito pong software na to, ang ginagamit ko kasi is Zoom. But I'm not sure if Zoom can be used for Facebook Live. So, ang ginagamit po namin ngayon ay provided ng Teacher A, ito nga StreamYard. So hindi po ako sanay dito. Please excuse me or please forgive me if I'm gonna have some technical errors. Baka biglang mawala yung screen or hindi ko ma-share ng maayos yung screen ko whatsoever. So please forgive me. Humingi na po ako ng maagang kapatawaran dun sa mga pwedeng mali na magawa ko. Kasi again, this is new to me. This app is new to me. I've been using Zoom for the longest time. So, hindi ako sanay dito. Anyway, so yan, medyo dumadami na. We have 52 viewers so far. Hello, sir, watching from Ethiopia. Oh, so we have Ethiopian here. Okay. We have someone from Ethiopia. Okay, good afternoon to you. I will, watching from Isabella. Okay, itong Isabella naman. So if there's anyone else who is actually foreign and who doesn't speak our local language, please let me know. Mag-comment po kayo, or you can comment on the comment box or send a message to PM the page, the Teacher A page. So probably maybe we can have a separate English session straight for those of you who cannot speak our native language. Because right now our goal is to actually speak in our native language. We are going to try to translate the information in Taglish or Tagalog English. Good afternoon, watching from HECB. Hi, Daniel. Okay, so anyway, let's start. Again, pagpasensyahan nyo na po ako kung medyo magkakaroon ako ng konting mga flaws dito sa ating whole duration of the program. Kasi, again, this is all new to me. So let me share my screen right now. Pagpatuloy lang nyo po yung mga comment nyo, nakikita ko dito sa cellphone ko yung inyong mga comment. Okay, so continue to share. Hello, sir, watching from Bahrain. Hi, from Bahrain. Kef Alek, Habibi. Assalamu alaikum. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Arabic? Do you speak Arabic? So, yan, paborito kong place ang Bahrain actually. Okay, so ito, nagkakaroon na. We can have a separate lecture for all Africans. Yes, for all African students who are here right now, for all African economic students, we would love to help you guys. We would love to give you more information. It's just that, African economic student, yeah, we can probably have a separate session for all of you guys. If you're here right now, we will have a separate session for you. Let us help. Okay, so let's start. So again, my name is Tari Gutierrez Tensuan. Nakikita nyo naman siguro flashing dyan sa mga screen nyo. This is very unique to me. So I am the founder of Limitless PH Trading Academy. So doon po sa may, promote muna ako ng konti ha. So doon sa may mga Instagram, you can follow me. Let me share that first. So doon po sa may, where's that banners? Okay, here. There you go. So ito po yung page ng Limitless PH. So that's Limitless PH Trading Academy. You can search for that on Facebook. Please like the page and share nyo rin po kung sakali magugustuhan yung mga content ko. Kasi po ako yung nagtuturo. Basically, ang tinuturo ko po, hindi lang naman na purong economics. Ang tinuturo ko po is all about trading. So we trade the markets, financial markets and stock market, commodities and cryptocurrency. So yan po ang focus ng aming page. At doon naman po sa may mga Instagram, you can follow me. Ang IG ko po ay tgt.limitlessph. Again, tgt.limitlessph. So, konting promotion lang, no? Konting promotion lang doon sa ating mga gustong sumubaybay sa akin at sa aking page. Yan po. So, tgt.limitless. Pagpasensyahan niyo na kung may ako magkakape. Medyo addicted po talaga ako sa kape. Anyway, so let's go back to our session. So again, ang ating pong topic is economics. So it will be all about economics, right? So meron tayong mga point of discussion, meron tayong mga point of may mga topics na pag-uusapan tonight. Hindi naman siya today, hindi naman siya masyadong komplikado, but again, it's a generalized thing that everybody can relate. So first is, of course, we will try to tackle, by the end of the session, I will try my best to make sure na alam nyo na what is economics and the scope and nature of economics, importance of economics. Kasi alam nyo, economics hindi lang naman siya for higher levels. In fact, economics starts with your household. Economics is all about budgeting and stuff in your household. So economics is not just for micro or macro level. Economics can actually start from you in your house. So we will discuss, of course, the importance of economics. And of course, we will differentiate the macro and microeconomics today. And we will also differentiate the normative and positive economics. So ito yung main confusion minsan eh. So micro and macroeconomics is the type of economics, okay, the type of studies, right? And the normative and positive economics, later you will see what the difference is or what the differences are is all about. So it's basically in the way of how you study economics, right? When it comes to normative and positive economics. Basic problems of economics. And of course, last but not the least, sabi ko nga kanina, if we are given enough time, I will try to digest yung pong ating Philippine economic performance, yung economic performance ng Philippines as of 2019. So this is not updated because most of the data you can gather is not updated. We can only see the projections for 2020, pero yung mga factual data is from the past, which is until 2019. Okay, so let's start. Now, let's start with the basic concepts and definitions of economics, right? So what are the basic concepts and definition? Wait lang. Okay. So what are the basic concepts and definitions in economics? Now, economics comes from the Greek word oikonomia, okay? As many other terms na nagsimula sa Greek word, siguro alam niyo naman when you read history, which means household. So kagaya nga ng sinasabi ko kanina, economics starts. Economics, the very nature of economics should start from your household. The study of academic discipline starts in managing your household, such as budgeting, paying bills, etc. Okay, so para dun po sa ating mga estudyante na dito na nagpa-participate, kasi meron tayong mga drills mamaya, kinuha ko po yung mga questions from the reviewer ng past LAT exam. So please take note dun po sa ating mga estudyante na nagpa-participate. Please take note kasi meron po tayong question and answer portion later on. Meron tayong drills. So let's continue. It is also a study of how societies use scarce resources to produce valuable commodities and distribute them among different people with various needs. So question, what are the needs of people, right? So let us have a closer look at the needs of people by using different examples below. So yung mga naka-cellphone lang sa inyo, I'm sure hindi nyo nakikita, medyo malabo na yung screen. Pagka pwede nyo i-zoom in, I think pwedeng i-zoom in yan eh. So subukan nyo i-zoom in or i-slide nyo na lang yung cellphone nyo para makita nyo yung information. So these are the basic needs of a person. So actually, excuse me again. I'm sorry, I'm really a coffee person. So actually, there are different needs, kung pwede nyo i-google 6 six major human needs from by Tony Robbins. So yun yung mas generalized theory of human needs. Pero ito naman, if we look at the economic standpoint, ito yung mga five major human needs, or ito yung mga pangangailangan mo as a person that you would always be looking for. Kasi ang economics, we're always trying to actually understand the human nature. So ito po yung ating pyramid of human needs. So it starts with self-actualization, right? So mortality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, and acceptance of facts. So obvious tong mga bagay na to. Actually, this is the first thing that every person should or every person is actually longing for, diba? So again, morality, creativity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts. These are actually more on self-realization, diba? Kaya nga po siya nasa self-actualization. So this is more of ourselves. This is more, this has to do a lot with our mental actualization, no, of what we are and what we can be and what we are going to be and what we were, diba? So this is going to be more of that side of that spectrum. Number two is esteem. So we have the self-esteem, ito yung self-centered needs. So self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, and respect by others. So we all want to be respected, and we all want to respect. We all want to respect in return as well, diba? So sabi nga nila, if you want respect, then you should respect first. So that's also part of the human needs under esteem. And of course, the love and belongingness, diba? So we will, dyan papasok yung ating friendship, family, and sexual intimacy, diba? So friendship, family, relationships, relationship, or whatever, your partner, your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, dyan papasok po yung pangatlo sa five basic human needs. And of course, pupunta na tayo sa safety, which is in form of security, of course, financial security, security of body, na healthy ka, health and wealth, pasok dito, of employment, so yun na nga, financial security, of resources, of morality, of the family, of health, of property. So again, if we narrow it down, it will start from you, then your overall outlook of yourself with cooperation with others, or yung ano mo, yung view mo of yourself and others' view of you as well, love and belongingness, safety, and of course, last but not the least, papasok tayo sa physiological. Meron tayong pangangailangan, yung katawan natin, diba? Ito na yung physical needs. So breathe, of course, air to breathe, food, water, sex. So sana PG parental strict parental guidance dun po, baka may mga bata tayong nanonood dito. So that's part of our the needs of our body, of course, sleep and excretion. All right? So those are the five basic human needs that we are studying in form of economics, no? Kasi nga, again, if you go back to the definition, it is a study of how to produce valuable commodities and differentiate them among different people with various needs, diba? So ito yung needs na mostly kinakailangan nating punan, no? So economics would not only come from physiological, it also comes with your emotional health and your mental health, no? Pasok dyan ang economics. Hindi lang masyadong natatakel yung part na yan when we're talking about micro and macroeconomics. But again, the economics term is actually general, and it helps with everything. The term economics or oikonomia, it's actually a general thing that you can use everywhere, kahit ano pa mang trabaho mo. Anyway, moving forward. So economics is also a study of how individuals within a society generally make choices that involve the use of scarce resources from among alternatives, ones that need to be satisfied. These resources and goods that are produced from them are not freely available, for they require using up other resources to obtain them. Okay, so dito na papasok yung mamaya pag-uusapan natin with regards to trade-offs and yung tinatawag nating minsan kasi kailangan meron kang yung opportunity cost and trade-off. So minsan kailangan ka may i-sacrifice to get something else kasi you cannot always get everything that you want. Sinaida, hi sir, watching from Cebu. Again, maayong hapon po sa Cebu. Lahat ng mga nasa Cebu dyan at lahat ng mga taga Davao. Okay? So ito, yung basic terms lang to ha. in order to have a sustainable development, once or one must have to manage the present resources as against the future, not just in the span of 3 to 5 years, but more than 20 years. Moreover, people make efficient use of these resources. The use of these resources bring corresponding benefits and costs. Efficiency means highest gain for the least cost. So ito kasama po to sa mga drill nyo mamaya. Take note of that. The use of these resources bring corresponding benefits and costs. Efficiency means the highest gains. Okay? Hindi ko alam kung pwedeng magano dito eh. Wala yatang tool tong StreamYard para maglagay ako ng drawingan ko yung board or yung screen. Parang wala. Sa Zoom kasi meron. Anyway, so I want you to look at this closely. Highest gains for the least cost. So this will be part of our drills later on, no? And this is again, it's a general term, but it's part of our drills, so it's best that you know that. And again, yung drills po natin, it all came from the previous previous LET exam nung 2018, I think. So doon po ako kumuha ng mga questions. So it's gonna be helpful. It's gonna be useful for many of you guys who are trying to take take up the exam. Okay. All right, so now let's talk about the scope and nature, right? Scope and nature of economics. So economic problem of scarcity. So what is scarcity? Okay, take note of that. Ito, isa sa mga pinaka-importanting terms sa economics. Scarcity. Scarcity is an economic condition wherein there is no enough resources to satisfy all the demands of the people. Okay? So scarcity is an economic condition wherein there is no enough resources to satisfy all the demands of the people. Now, I wanted to draw on the screen actually, kaya lang unfortunately, hindi ko magamit. Roel, kung nandyan ka, please help me kung meron bang paraan para makapag-draw ako dito sa screen habang nakashare yung screen. Kasi sa Zoom kasi meron. Excuse me. So, I wanted to draw a graph to show you what scarcity means actually. But basically, hindi po nagmi-meet yung supply and demand. So alam niyo naman, basic law of economics, by the way, ang basic principal law of economics or the study of economics is the supply and the demand. So we, in the world of economics, we are trying to match up the supply and the demand almost all the time. Mamaya magkakaroon tayo ng mga examples kung ano yung mga binabanggit ko dito na regarding supply and demand. Later magkakaroon tayo ng graph to actually represent the problems within the supply and the demand side. So now, I'll give you some examples na napapanahon din mamaya. Anyway, so scarcity is an economic condition, again, wherein there's no enough resources to satisfy the demands of the people. So nagkakaroon ng scarcity, whatever you call it, nagkakaroon ng scarcity if mataas yung needs, okay, mataas yung demand for a specific object or for a specific good, then yung supply, you can proceed to explain, we will send them. Okay, sige, please, send the handout. So again, scarcity is basically ito po yung situation when there is no enough supply of something, but what's the difference? Oh, so we have a question from Mr. Khalid Hussein. What is the difference between scarcity and poverty? Scarcity is the lack of resources to produce needs for something, diba? Poverty is more of a situation, economic condition of the people or a specific society that is experiencing. So poverty is lack of resources to buy the needs or to buy what you want to have or the needs of in a society in general terms. Scarcity, you have enough to buy, pero yung demand side they're not able to provide. So it's a problem from the demand side. Hindi to problema nung mga tayo nung society. It's a problem for the demand side because they're not able to cope up with the resources para ma-produce yung enough demand to supply the needs of the people. So poverty as the society, we don't have resources to buy that good that we want to buy or the food or whatsoever. Scarcity is meron kang pambili pero wala kang mabili. That is scarcity. It's a condition of most goods, most products, and poverty is the condition of society. Poverty is the condition of society. But very good question, Khalid Hussein. Assalamualaikum. Very good question. That's a really nice question. So anyway, let me proceed. So ito yung bagay na palagi kong sinasabi. It's simple, no? Many people right now, for example, I'll give you a very, very specific example. So right now, there's a scarcity with what? With face mask, number one. Number two, ventilators. Number three, alcohol, or kung ano pa man ang mga sanitizers na ginagamit. So those three right now is it's scarce. Those goods, those specific products are undergoing a situation of scarcity. Bakit? Kasi po, we did not expect. I mean, mostly if the pandemic was actually predicted at least 6 months before it happened, or at least 3 months before it happened, then the governments, the international governments, or sorry, the international, let's say doon lang tayo sa sangay sa sangay na responsible dito. So yung let's say WHO, World Health Organization, if they figured out that there's gonna be a huge demand for a specific like face mask, right? Before, like 3 months before the pandemic even started spreading all over the world, then they could have produced more. You know, meron silang mga isa-sacrifice doon sa manufacturing. Meron silang mga bagay na hindi mo na ipoproduce to cope up with the possible huge demands for face mask and, you know, other things like alcohol and other sanitizers. So scarcity comes because you did not expect the demand to be that high. So you're only producing, like for example, if you're only producing, let's say, sa Philippines na lang, maghanap tayo ng isang factory na nagpo-produce ng face mask. For example, if this company is producing 20,000 pieces of face mask per week, okay? If they are producing 20,000 face masks per week, alam niyo, I would like to really use a board here. Kaya lang wala tayong board. I want to draw something para mas may paliwanag ko sa inyo kasi alam ko yung ibang learners ay visual, so mas maganda nakikita nyo. But let's say, if a factory is producing 20,000 number of face masks in a week, and then biglang tumaas yung demand ng up to 100,000 face masks per week, that situation right there can result to scarcity. And yun na nga, nangyari na nga. Because yung 20,000 previously, before the pandemic, before all this COVID crisis, previously yung 20,000 supply every week is enough and just sufficing the needs. Nagkakaroon ng equilibrium. Nagmamatch yung demand ng tao at yung supply. Ang tawag doon, equilibrium. But then, sobrang tumaas yung demand. Hindi na ma-meet up ng supply. So, that's when, or one of the situations when or where scarcity happens. So you have to take note of this, sa lahat po. You have to keep in mind that these are the situations, and one of the results pag nagkaroon ng scarcity sa isang good, sa isang item, pag nagkaroon ng scarcity, believe me or not, tataas ang presyo niyan sobra. Kaya nga marami nag-overpricing ng ventilators, diba? Marami nag-overpricing ng PPEs, marami nag-overpricing ng protective equipments, face masks, ng alcohols, kasi nga nagkaroon ng scarcity. So there was too much demand. The supply cannot cope up with the demand. So nagkaroon ng pagkukulang. Again, scarce. If all economic goods are scarce, some more and some less, all economic goods require an efficient way to allocate these goods in order to satisfy the needs of the people. The only goods that do not require allocative mechanism, tandaan nyo to, again, this is gonna be part of the drill later on. Remember the term allocative mechanism. So the goods na hindi nangangailangan ng allocative mechanism, ibig sabihin hindi na pinag-aaralan ng gobyerno kung paano natin i-allocate yan, or hindi na pinag-aaralan ng micro or macro level kung paano i-allocate yung goods kasi it's a free good, then that is what we call free goods. So ang only example right now, the only example is air, 'di ba? So I can think of anything else na hindi nagre-require ng allocative mechanism. Everything else require allocative mechanism, but air is one of those free goods. Right? So, tandaan yung term na allocative mechanism. It doesn't mean that just because it's free, then it's a free good. Right? Anything that doesn't require allocative mechanism is a free good, or free goods are free goods. All right? But there are some cases, like for example, yung oxygen or yung air ay nagiging commodity, or nagiging, let's say, nagiging economic good siya. In the hospital, for example, yung ating pong mga COVID positive cases na nangangailangan ng ventilators ngayon. At kahit yung dati pa, lahat ng mga gumagamit ng oxygen sa ospital, binabayaran nila yon, di ba? So that's where oxygen becomes the economic good. So it is already, meron na siyang allocative mechanism, di ba? So bibigyan ko na naman kayo ng example, very recent example. Nagkaroon po ng allocative mechanism ang ventilators, ang oxygen sa Italy with major hospitals. Nagkaroon ng problema sila na alam niyo yung sinasabi nila na pinipili na lang nila kung sino bubuhayin, kung sino hindi. It's a sad news. It's a sad reality, pero nangyari po talaga siya sa Italy kasi they were not ready for it. They did not have enough ventilators. They did not have enough hospital medical supplies to cope up with thousands and thousands of people being diagnosed with COVID-19 every day. So nagkaroon na po, yun yung time na nagkaroon na ng allocative mechanism, yung ventilators, yung oxygen sa hospital kasi they were choosing whom to give and whom not to give. Diba? So they were trying to assess the situation, like medical condition ng tao, ilang taon na yung tao, kung gaano kalala yung sitwasyon niya, those kind of stuff. So it's a very tough decision for a government, for any government to do that. It's a very tough decision for any person, for any leader to actually do that. But they had to. There was no way out. They had to. What they did was an economic decision. They had to really sit together and kailangan nilang i-compile lahat ng data na pwede so that they can find, no, they can actually come up with a perfect solution kung saan magma-match yung meron lang sila at yung pangangailangan ng mga tao sa ospital. Okay? So enough for the scarcity. Let's move on. So let's talk about positive and normative economics. Okay? Again, positive and normative economics. Meron po pinagkaiba yan. Okay, so again, magandang hapon po. Maayong hapon sa mga bago nating mga listeners, sa mga bago nating mga nagtutune in. Please paki-comment lang po kung saan kayo, kung saang lugar kayo, saang lugar sa Pilipinas, kahit saang lupalop man yan or kung OFW, please comment down below para po ating ma-acknowledge. Again, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So moving on. So positive and normative economics, right? Positive and normative economics. So positive economics, kung hindi nyo nababasa, it discloses factual information in terms of what is, what was, and what will be. Okay? Kami po sa trading industry, sa finance and trading and finance, we use a lot of positive economic data. We use a lot of data. No? We use a lot of factual data to predict what can happen in the future. Right? So we use a lot of factual information para malaman natin kasi ang kung mapapansin niyo kung bakit po by the way to give you a little bit of a background give you a little bit of backstory. Kung alam niyo si Notre Dame and yung iba pang mga philosophers nung araw na they were able to predict the future because they are only using numbers. And in fact, right now, you can go to Google and makikita nyo po na maraming mga ekonomista na pinredict nila tong recession na mangyayari ng 2020 way before COVID. Bago pa magkaroon. In fact, yan yung topic. Nagkaroon ako ng research. Last year. It was May. I think it was May of 2019. And I have a group of people that we were tackling the possible recession that can happen in 2020 until 2021. Nagkaroon po kami ng mga gathering of data. We started with the USA, of course, kasi USA is center of economics for everywhere. Then we went to China, and then we went to Euro area, European countries. That's when we figured out that there is gonna be a recession, believe it or not. And that was way before COVID-19. That was way before all this pandemic issues. Nagkaroon na kami ng idea. Just because, how? Because we were using positive economic data. We were using factual information. We were using factual data to actually predict what can happen in the future. We are using numbers. It's all about numbers. So, para dun po sa ating mga future economic students or yung mga gusto maging economic students or dun sa mga existing economic students natin, economics has a lot to do with numbers. So when you actually start your course, for example, for the first, second year mo, or for the first let's say, kunyari sa education system natin sa Pilipinas, for the first 4 sems at least, it will be all about general theory. It will be all about understanding the history of economics and yung mga father of economics. That's how it's gonna go. Pero pagdating mo ng last 4 sems mo or at least last 2 sems, it will be all about numbers. I'm telling you, it will be all about numbers. Kasi in economics, we are trying to predict the future or the future, let's say, data of something in terms of using the old numbers. Meron po tayong algorithms na ginagamit to predict what can happen in terms of let's say to be specific, growth ng isang kumpanya or growth ng isang bansa or yung unemployment rate ng isang kumpanya or unemployment rate ng isang bansa or let's say yung yung future prices, yung future currency prices ng isang bansa, yung future prices ng stock corporation or ng stock ng isang company. We use all data. We gather data, we gather numbers, we put them in a graph, and then we understand how it's gonna be. So yan po yung positive economics, no? It's all about factual information. So yan yung for example, ito as you can see in the example here, does an increase in taxes help the economic growth? 'Di ba? So, kunyari, nagkaroon tayo ng train law, for example. Did it actually help our economic growth in the Philippines? Later, pag-uusapan natin yan sa last part. Why is the salary of a lawyer higher than a messenger? So, yung mga ganung bagay, it's all in the positive economics. So, kasi we are using data, no? Specifically, itong first question, does an increase in taxes help the economic growth? So, meron ba siyang naitulong? Nagkaroon ba ng improvement sa bansa natin? Tumaas ba yung GDP natin? Buwaba ba yung inflation rate? Or na-maintain ba natin yung inflation target natin? And stuff like that. That is positive economics. Normative economics, on the other hand, it contains a value judgment on which ought to be, ought to have been, and ought to become. So this is very subjective. It's a very subjective topic. Ito pong normative economics. It's maraming mga tao, ito yung masanay silang gamitin eh. So yan, for example, do we really need to have high budget percentage to the Department of National Defense rather than to the Department of Education? So I'll give you a specific example. I don't want to be political here, no? Hindi, wala po tayong i-explain na politics or whatsoever. But a lot of Filipinos here in the Philippines, a lot of people, marami silang mga comments positive comments, mga matatalinong tao naman to, mga matatalinong estudyante. Marami silang mga sabihin na nating sensible comments or sensible information that they are sabihin na nating ano bang term dito. Meron silang mga complaints about what the government is doing. So palagi naman may ganun. So meron silang mga information, meron silang mga ginagather na kung ano-anong mga data, and they're actually not data, but they're blatantly complaining about the government. But to be honest with you, ito pong mga rally na to, ito pong mga nagrereklamo na to, regardless of the administration, okay? Regardless of the administration, majority of the yung mga rallyista, puro po sila nasa normative economics. They're all about judgment. They're all about subjective topics. They're all about subjective things that could have been. Kaya nga ang sabi dito, ought to have been, ought to be, or ought to become. So, it's not healthy, for a government or for a company per se to actually use or to be affected by normative economics. Kasi ito po yung mga bagay na puro komentaryo lang, sabihin na natin. Puro mga palagay lang nung tao. Palagay ko ganito yun eh. For example, recently, usong-uso pa yung mga fake news, di ba? Bakit nag-cut yung DOH? Ba't nag-cut tayo ng budget health, ng budget for health, etc., etc. Nabawasan ng 2 billion or $200 billion. Ewan ko kung 200 billion pesos. Ewan ko kung ano yung umiikot na information, but these are all fake news. But every time po na merong decision na ginagawa ang government, I can assure you, any government, hindi lang po yung government niyan. Any government, I can assure you, they have economic team. They have a team of economic experts that they are actually using positive economics other than normative economics to come up with a solution on a specific problem of the country. So hindi po sila basta-basta lang nagkuro-kuro. Okay? Hindi yung baka pag ginawa natin to maganda yung mangyayari. No, they're using data. They're using positive economics in that term. Okay? So yun po yung pinagkaiba again ng positive economics and normative economics. So we discussed scarcity, positive economics, normative economics. Now we can move on. So yan, ito po again, just para mas mababasa nyo, para mas maisusulat nyo, or pwede nyo i-screenshot if you guys want. Positive economics discloses factual information in terms of what is, what was, and what will be. Bakit normal economics? Normative economics, mali po yung pagka-type niyan, sorry. Ewan ko, hindi ako yung nag-type actually. Pero, sorry, typo error. Pero pasok din naman kasi yung normative, it's from the term of normal from the root word normal. Pero let's be specific, normative economics. So normative economics contains a value judgment on which ought to be, ought to have been, or ought to become. So if you want to use factual data, if anyone is actually using factual data to predict what can happen whatsoever, it's under the positive economics, and normative economics is again, it's all about the judgment. Okay, so this is a very subjective topic. All right. Importance of studying economics. So ito, dadaanan lang natin, mabilisan lang kasi I'm pretty sure medyo malabo yung screen, no? Hindi niyo masyadong makita yung kopya ngayon. So, let's talk about the importance of at least knowing or being familiar with economics, no? So, economics affects your daily life, right? So, we all know that, right? Why? Because economics is a part of your everyday life, and you are directly or indirectly affected by, per se, the tuition fee, fare hike, increase of oil price, or the increase of price of accessories of some electronic devices, such as mobile phone and laptop and etc. And hence, because of the sometimes yung increase sa ibang mga department, no, or sa increase sa ibang mga goods, it also affects the increase for example, so oil. If oil prices is actually high, then oil price, or sorry, all or majority of the commodities, the basic needs of any family, okay, yung pagkain, yung bigas whatsoever, tumataas din yung presyo. So oil price is relative to everything else, to all prices. Yun yung pinaka may direct correlation sa lahat ng presyo. Kasi of course, langis na nagbubuhay sa ngayon dahil we are using oil to transport products, we are using oil to manufacture products, we are using oil, etc., etc. So that is a major thing, no? It also provides you with an effective and logical way of solving economic problems, and also in making economic decisions such as allocating budget or decision on what to buy. So dito, pag marunong kang makaintindi ng basic economics, then somehow naiintindihan mo na kung kanyari ngayon sa sitwasyon ngayon, we're all suffering at home and lockdown tayo, at maraming iba na kami sa awa ng Diyos, medyo may mga online business na nagagawa at medyo may mga pinagkakakitaan. Pero I'm sure marami po tayong kakilala at kasamahan, baka isa sa inyo, na naapektuhan talaga ang hanap buhay dahil sa lockdown. So this is the time where you apply economics in your household. So you have to actually prioritize and make a proper allocation of budgeting or budget doon sa mga bibilhin mo, yung mga kailangan nyo lang dyan sa bahay na, of course, kasi lahat tayo nagtitipid because of the situation. Let me just check yung ating chat box so far. Okay, so wala pa namang question. All right, so economics also help you to render more informed decisions. So doon na naman papasok yung informed decision. You can be a better person by being able to understand, or you can be a better citizen actually by understanding the economics, and it can also make you a more effective, like I said, citizen by because it enables us to be aware of our responsibilities as a good citizen. And these responsibilities include, okay, ito yung responsibilities natin as a citizen sa Pilipinas, para po tayo yung makatulong sa Pilipinas, okay? Paying our taxes, number one. Fighting and observing or exercising our rights as workers. So, kunyari sa inyong kumpanya, medyo inaabuso kayo ng kumpanya, then you have to know your rights, no? Para ikaw ay makalaban naman. Actually, papasok na to sa DOLE, papasok na to sa Philippine Constitution, pero sabihin na nating corporate law, no? Sabihin na nating isama na rin natin siya sa pagiging importansya ng understanding economics. Promoting local businesses and buying local products. So, siguro doon sa dalawa, no, pinaka-importante. Number one, paying our taxes. Number two, support local businesses. Okay? So, as much as possible, we should support our local businesses. We should support our local products, no? Yung local, let's say yung mga bigas na, of course, dito galing sa Pilipinas, but in our situation right now, we are actually exporting a lot of rice and importing a lot of coconut because of a situation where I will explain to you later on. But the point is, we have to be in Tagalog, maging parokyano, di ba? Maging parokyano tayo ng sarili nating mga produkto at magbayad ng tamang buwis para tayo makatulong sa ekonomiya. Kasi the economic performance of a country is actually revolving around its people. Tandaan nyo yan. Walang kahit anong gobyerno yung kayang mag-solve ng economic problem ng kahit anong bayan o kahit anong bansa. It has to be from the people themselves. Kasi po yung economic performance, tandaan nyo to the economic performance of a country is a mirror of its citizens. So pag hindi mo sinusuportahan yung ekonomiya ng bansa, then it will fail. Or vice versa, pag nagfe-fail yung ekonomiya ng isang bansa, hindi lang po gobyerno yung dapat natin sisihin, yung sarili din natin. Are we actually supporting? Diba? So, kaya ako malaki ang hats off ko sa mga OFWs kasi, well, dati rin naman ako OFW, kasi isa po yan sa malaking nagbibigay ng, actually 8% of our GDP is coming from remittances. So, it's very important that we understand, no, kung saan tayo aspeto makakatulong para sa economic growth ng Pilipinas. So, divisions of economics. So, ito na mga major subjects na naman. Importante ito. Okay. Oh. So, divisions of economics, no? Ito yung two different types of economics, right? Some of you guys are already familiar and some of you guys are not aware, no? Kung ano yung meron dito sa divisions or ano yung dalawang klase na economics. So, we have what we call the microeconomics and we also have the macroeconomics. Okay. So again, micro and macro. So microeconomics is a branch of economics which is concerned with the behavior of economic entities, all right, such as the market, firms, households, consumers, producers. So microeconomics is actually the branch of economics that studies ito yung nagkakaroon, kung familiar kayo, nagkakaroon ng mga survey, for example, doon sa mga households, yung ibang mga data na kinukuha doon sa mga kumpanya like PMI. There's a lot of data, employment or employment plans in the future ng mga big companies, and even meron ding mga data na ginagather na sinasurvey from the heads of the families. Ito po yung branch ng economics na naka-tackled or naka-focus doon. It's all about the micro level. Kaya nga po siya micro from the term itself. It studies all the decision making. Okay, pasok dyan. Decision making of corporations, decision making of household members, decision making of small companies, SME, whatsoever. So dyan po pasok ang microeconomics. So Adam Smith is actually said to be the most popular personality in microeconomics. Where, alam niyo yung Wealth of Nations. So kung doon sa mga economic students po natin, I'll give you a suggestion. You can look for Sir TJ Uy from Singapore. Hi, isa sa mga estudyante ko ron, Limitless PH. Magandang hapon po. Magandang hapon dyan sa Singapore. Okay, so bibigyan ko kayo ng konting tip, no? Konting tip doon po sa ating mga economic student. Ano yung mga libro na dapat yung binabasa? Hanapin niyo yung The Wealth of Nations. The Wealth of Nations. Okay? By Adam Smith. Diyan niya binanggit yung The Invisible Hand. The Invisible Hand is something that caught up my attention. The Invisible Hand is something that is really has been helpful, no? Has been helpful for me understanding the overview of what it is, right? So i-research po yan, hindi ko na i-discuss, i-google nyo. I-google nyo yung The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. So, dyan, marami kayong matututunan about microeconomics. And of course, we have the macroeconomics. So, dito naman nakafocus, the studies, the behavior of economy as a whole, as a general, no? Examines the overall level of nation's output, employment, and prices. Okay? This started in 1936, yung general theory of macro and microeconomics. It started in 1986 when an economist named John Maynard Keynes published his book entitled General Theory, Employment, Interest, and Money. Actually, nabasa ko tong libro na to nung ako yung nag-aaral pa. So, General Theory, Employment, Interest, and Money. So, yan naman, dyan naman papasok yung level of studies from a macro perspective, meaning we are talking about in general na, no? In general, like yung employment data ng bansa or yung GDP ng bansa or yung inflation rate or yung financial crisis or yung monetary policy ng bank of the or nung central bank, lahat po yan ay papasok na sa macroeconomics. All right? So I wanted to make that clear. Okay. So economic situation, ito po yung differences, yung main differences when you narrow it down to different situation. Ito po yung main differences ng micro and macroeconomics. So, hindi na ako magtatagal dyan. Basically, for example, economic situation, oil price increase. So, sa macroeconomics, ang tinitingnan natin is how an oil cartel might price its oil. So, merong local cartel na pwedeng nilalaro nila yung presyo ng langis, right? But when you talk about macroeconomics, ang tinitingnan natin, ask why a sharp raise in the world price of oil causes inflation and unemployment. So I hope somehow naiintindihan nyo. So for example, again, oil price, kunyari yan, ang baba ng presyo ng langis. So if you look at the micro perspective or micro economics level, then you are actually considering how they are pricing it, di ba? So specifically doon sa mga oil companies, how they're pricing it. But when you look at the macro perspective, when you look at the macro level, it is basically raising it is the study of how the price of oil affected the inflation, the employment rate, the GDP, etc., etc. So yun po yung macro level, no? Hindi natin papatagalin yan. Yan lang yung main differences majorly ng macro and microeconomics. Now, meron akong question sa inyo. Magkakaroon tayo ng early drills, okay? Doon po sa ating mga participants dito na mga estudyante, specifically yung mga economics student na nandito ngayon. Sana nandito pa kayo. Please continue sharing the video. I-share pa po natin yung video para mas marami pa tayong matulungan. So, meron akong question sa inyo. Doon pa sa mga estudyante na nandito ngayon. So, as usual, ewan ko, palagi naman kayo nagkakaroon ng drills with Teacher A, di ba? So, subukan natin kung anong pwede natin gawin. But so far, kung sino yung makakakuha ng tamang sagot or kung sino yung medyo, kasi itong drill na to is subjective naman eh. So, siguro special mention na lang kayo, no? So, paunahan again sa mga sagot. Now, in your own words, okay? Doon po sa ating mga listeners ngayon, in your own words, define the following. Define, number 1, economics. So, in your own words, what is economics? Waiting for answers. So again, doon po sa ating mga watchers na mga estudyante, this drill is actually for you. So in your own words, define the following. What is economics in your own words? Sa sarili niyo pong pagkakaintindi. Kung itatranslate niyo siya in a layman's term, kung itatranslate mo yung economics in a layman's term. Okay, very good kay Tio D. Torres. Tio D. Torres, taga saan ka? Very good. Household management. So that's very absolutely correct and accurate. So in your own term, you can actually define economics as household management. Kay Marivic Armario, it is the study of how societies manage scarce resources to produce valuable commodities. So yung sagot nyo, ano na yan eh, yung kanina nating explanation, yung kanina nating lecture, management of the household. So yan, tama, Christian, management. It means the management of household. So yan, tama po yung mga sagot. Means household such as budgeting and paying bills. So tama po yung inyong mga sagot. Very good, very good. So economics, when you talk about economics, it doesn't just mean the national level. It starts from our household, from our families, from managing creating or making the right decisions in our household. So tama po yan. Si Ako Juan, tama rin. Caroline, Abdi, Christian, and Marivic. So tama po lahat ng inyong mga sagot. Next question. In your own words, hindi po yung actual definition in your own words lang. I-translate nyo siya. Define scarcity. Scarcity, whatever your term is. Define scarcity. Waiting for answers. Again, tandaan nyo yung mga term na ginamit natin kanina. Not enough resources, demand. So, in your own words, how can you define scarcity? Shortage of supply. Rosella Romero Aguirre, very good. Ang pinakaunang sumagot. Teacher A, nandito ka ba ngayon? Are you here right now? Ruel, are you here? Are you listening? Naka-tune in ka ba? Kasi I want to ask you to actually write down the names of the people, yung mga unang sumasagot ng tama. Tapos bibigyan natin sila ng konting pabuya, konting reward, no? So kung nandito ka, Mr. Teacher A, Ruel Atun, kung nandito ka, please write down the names of these students na tamang sumasagot, yung pinakaunang tamang sagot, para mabigyan natin sila ng kahit konting bagay lang naman. I'm sure it will be appreciated. So, like something like load, 'di ba? Mobile phone load. So, ang dami ng sagot. Actually, so ang unang-unang tama pong sagot na nagustuhan ko actually kay Rosella Aguirre. Tapos we have Maron. Maron is one of my friends. Maron, the reaction of people relating to supply and demand. So yeah, that's how somehow connected. Lack of resources to buy something. So si Marivic, yes, correct. Lack of resources to buy something. Abdi, not enough resource to satisfy human wants. Very good. Ang gusto ko yung sagot ni Abdi. Christian, result of high demand and less supply. Yes, very good. Caroline, meaning there is no enough resources. Scarcity, shortage of supply, kakulangan sa isang bagay, po example, alcohol, nagkaubusan na. Si Akuhuan, yes, tama po. Nympha, Huba, Hib, so tama rin yung sagot niya, shortage of supply. Naneth, infinite needs, medyo kulang yung sagot, pero nandun ka na, si Naneth. And si Jonald, economic condition where demands are over than supplies. Yeah, tama yan, Jonald. And Lynette, not enough supply of resources. Very good. Si Tete, scarcity, no demand. No demand for supply to satisfy people need. No, that's wrong. Actually, there's more demand and less supply. That's how it is. Thank you, sir, from DTI Apayao. Hi, DTI Apayao. Meron tayong DTI representative dito. Kaya naman pala alam nyo, ma'am eh. Meron tayong DTI dito. Poverty pala yung sagot ko. Yes, ma'am Marivic. Yes, tama yan. So, si Ma'am Rosella Aguirre from DTI Davao. Magandang hapon po sa inyo dyan. Sana makabalik ako ng Davao. Gustong-gusto ko dyan actually. Okay, so again, para po kay do sa ating teacher A, Ruel Atun, please write down, no? Para mabigyan natin ng konti, i-PPM natin sila, bibigyan po natin ng kahit load or kung ano pa man yung pwede naming ibigay para lang masaya yung ating topic. Kasi 2 hours lang naman to. Why not? Let's make it happier or let's make it happy, di ba? Now, third, in your own words, define the following. Okay, the third one is microeconomics. In your own terms, in your own definition, what is microeconomics? Ayan, si Mr. Roel. Yes, again, Mr. Roel M. Atun, please write down the names of the first students na tama yung sagot. Tapos, at least siguro first 5 students na tama yung sagot. Tapos, bibigyan natin sila ng something. Isulat mo lang. Thank you very much. Para meron pa akong pang-load doon sa aking Paymaya. So, pwede nating ipamigay ng konti yan para lang masaya. Tapos meron po kaming share and win raffle, share and win. So those who are watching right now, habang nag-aantay ako ng sagot nyo about macroeconomics, those who are watching right now, meron po tayong share and win. You share this and then magkakaroon po ng bunutan, meron kaming ibibigay na something from Teacher A. It's a konting ano lang naman, ang tawag dito. Meron tayong mga pang souvenir. So like a cup or ball pen, notebook, or anything that can actually help you in your studies. So meron po tayong share and win promo. Share and win. So you share this live video right now. You share it right now and we will pick a winner. Isa lang po yung winner na bibigyan namin ng supplies for, we will announce in the page. Yes, we will announce in the page kung sino po yung mananalo. Mr. Teacher A will actually announce kung sino po yung mananalo ng ating, hindi ko pa alam actually. So iba pa yung load na ibibigay namin dun sa mga tama yung sagot. So dalawa po yung promo natin. Yung isa yung mga tama yung sagot sa drills. First 5 students to answer the right questions. And yung pangalawa po, share and win. So you share this video right now and we will pick a winner. I-announce po sa ating page. So continue sharing the page. Meron pa tayong 1 hour or 45 minutes left. So share nyo lang po ng i-share tong ating discussion. Okay. So microeconomics. Simulan natin kay Miss Caroline. Micro. Make certain choice of when factors of production change. Medyo malayo po yung sagot, ma'am, pero appreciate you trying. Study the behavior of single entities. So medyo nandun na yung sagot. So pero tama rin si Christian. So pakisulat na lang po Mr. Roel, si Christian tama yung sagot. Medyo malapit na yung sagot mo actually, pero I just need a little bit of twist. In focus of individual economy like price. Medyo eto naman Mr. Abdi, medyo general yung sagot mo, pero nandun din naman. I mean, you get the thought, 'di ba? Medyo general lang siya. I need more Specific answer. Concerned with markets, households, consumers, and products. So yes, and producers. Yes. So yan, tama yung sagot ni Ms. Marivic Mario. Kasi ito naman yung ating nandun sa lecture kanina. But yeah, it's still correct. So it's concerned with the markets, household. It's at the micro level. All right. Si Herman, a tip, behavior of individuals in allocating goods. Pwede na rin. Behavior of individuals. Gusto ko yung term na individuals. Make certain production change. Medyo mali po tayo doon. Lindy, concerned with behavior of economic entities. Household consumers, yes, tama yon. Jonald, a study of economics in terms of individual areas of activity. So, si Jonald ang pinaka-tama ang sagot. Kasi nga po, ang inaano natin dito, ang ating pong hinihingi dito, di ba, yung in your own words, in your own definition. So si Jonald, I like what he answered. A study of economics in terms of individual areas of activity. That's a very absolute question in your own terms. So pakisulat na lang, Teacher A, si Jonald Dejay or Dejay, Jonald Valencia Dejay ay tama rin yung sagot. Like small enterprises, the condition of our markets, consumers, and wants. So okay naman yung mga sagot nyo. I'm just looking for the best answer. The fourth topic is macroeconomics. So in your own definition, in your own words, ano po, paano nyo i-define or i-relate in layman's term yung macroeconomics? Go. Macro naman. Kanina nasa micro tayo. So kanina, kagaya ng sagot ni Jonald sa microeconomics, individual. Diba? Sabi niya, individual areas of activity, which is absolutely, I like that answer. But now we are talking about macro. So again, pag-usapan lang natin dito yung terms of micro and macro. So meron tayong sagot from Miss Caroline. Macro, a large scale of general economics factors or overall level of nation output such as interest rate and national productivity. So masyadong mahaba, no? Tama naman yung sagot nyo. I think baka nakuha nyo from Google or what. Pero tama naman yung sagot nyo. Actually, I just need something na simplified, no? In your own words for me to understand na naintindihan nyo. Kasi po, ang goal po natin dito is not to make you memorize, no? Alam nyo, sa totoo lang, that's the problem with our education system in the Philippines, and not only the Philippines, around the globe. Masyado tayong nakafocus sa memorization ng mga topic, but we don't even understand. It's important for you to understand a specific topic before you actually memorize it. Sa totoo lang, hindi importante yung memorization eh. You just have to pick some few details na kahit pagbalik-balik ta rin yung tanong, kaya mong sagutin kasi you have a deeper understanding or analyzation of a specific topic. So kahit saan pong branch to, I want you guys to actually understand that what we want to do, dito po sa ating exercises na to, what we want to do is not to be very specific, ano? We don't want to memorize details. We want to analyze, no? We want to have a deeper understanding of each and every subtopic here under Economics 101. With that being said, macroeconomic studies economy-wide phenomena such as inflation, price levels. So yung mga sagot niyo po kasi sir, okay yung mga sagot niyo kaya lang parang from Google eh. So I would not consider the answers from Google ha. So those are right questions, those are right answers, but I don't want to see copy-paste. Yung sarili po nating understanding, yung sarili po nating pagkakaunawa dun sa topic. It studies the overall performance of the economy. So ito, kunyari kay Christian. Si Christian, yan yung mga sagot na inaantay ko eh, yung your own understanding in layman's term. So it studies si Christian, tama yung sagot. It studies the overall. Kanina kasi nandun tayo sa micro, individual. Okay? Ngayon po tayo ay nasa macro, overall. So yun lang yung two terms na tatandaan nyo. Individual, overall. Individual, overall. Micro, macro. Yun po yung pinaka-importante dyan. Concerned with large-scale or general economic factors. So yes, si Franklin Valdez, tama rin po yung sagot. Overall studies of the economy. So si Lindy, tama rin yung sagot. Whole economies, Akuan, tama rin po yung sagot. Study of large economic of a country system. So si Jonald, yes, tama na rin yan. Large scale. Okay, gusto ko yung term ni Ma'am Rosella from DTI. Large scale. So yes, it's a large scale study of economics. Another pertains to whole economics, kabuuan. Yes, Herman, tama yung sagot. Large-scale enterprises, a whole total product of our economics in whole period. In a whole period. Okay, good. Studies the behavior of performance of a company or economy as a whole, example, employment rate. So si Mr. John Roy, of course, John Roy is one of my students in Limitless PH. So tama po yung kanyang sagot. John Roy Diampa. Cherilyn Melicor Malabanan, Economy as a Whole. Tama rin si Cherilyn. So again, ito po yung mga gusto kong sagot yung your own definition, your own terms. Kahit Tagalogin yan, wala kang problema. Macro, the overall study of economics, a certain nation, yes, tama. Total performance of an economy, study of GNP. So yung GNP, Ma'am Sinaida, medyo specific na po yun. GNP and GDP, medyo ano na yun, specific gross national product. It's very specific na. Kasi pag sinabing macroeconomics, it's a wide, di ba? Pwedeng GNP, pwedeng GDP, pwedeng employment rate, pwedeng inflation rate, whatsoever. But yung GNP po is a different it's under macroeconomics po, no? Pero okay din naman yung sagot. Come from a large-scale enterprises, behavior of national or regional economy as a whole, study of large economic system of particular country. It's a study of economics focused in terms of whole activities. Sir, sorry po. Sir, sorry po. Di po ako from DTI. Ay, hindi po ba sila yon? Dito. Akala ko DTI. So, ang sinabi niyo kanina is dito, Davao. Sorry po, sorry. Medyo naman nagkamali ako ng, ng pagkabasa sa inyong mensahe. Pasensya na po. But anyway, nevertheless, so tama po ang mga sagot. Jonald, Abdi, Franklin, Caroline, Zenaida, again po, yung study of GNP is under macroeconomics. So, it's not the definition of macroeconomics. Si Tete, si Cherilyn, John Roy, and Nympha, Rosella, Herman. So, yan po. Tama ang inyong mga sagot. Very good, guys. I like it. Now, let's move on to our next topic, and this will be the last topic for basic economics. So we are going to talk about the basic problems of economics. So itatackle po natin yung kalimitang nagiging problema sa economic performance ng isang bansa. Ano? Okay, hinga lang muna ng konti. Okay, so guys, if you don't mind, magbe-break lang po ako ng 5 minutes. 5 minutes break tayo, okay ba yon? Tapos habang tayo ay naka-break, ituloy nyo na yung share and win nyo. Yung share and win. So share nyo po itong live video na to para makapili po si Teacher A ng mananalo. Magkakaroon lang po tayo ng at least 7 minutes break. So para po dun sa iba, kasi panibagong topic na naman to. So konting-konting break lang. Inom ng tubig, mag-CR. Yan. So 7 minutes break lang po tayo. Continue share. Okay, so magkakaroon po tayo ng 7 minutes break. Tapos again, paki-share lang po, ituloy niyo po ang pag-share. Ituloy niyo po ang pag-share nitong ating session para po kayo manalo ng share and win promo ni Mr. Teacher A. Alright, so babalikan ko po kayo. Ang next topic natin will be basic problems of economics. Okay, so be ready for this. It's also very important. So I will come back in 7 minutes. Right now it's 4:25, mga 4:32 balik na po ako. Alright, see you guys. Okay, we're back. Yeah. Balik na po tayo. Pagpatuloy ang ating discussion. Okay. There we go. All right. So we will back to our session, back to our topic. So again, ang atin pong topic ngayon. Sana nakabalik na sila lahat. Are you guys ready? Ready for more? Alam niyo, ang pinakamagandang topic natin dito is yung next week. Kasi yung next week is the basic elements of supply and demand. Lalo na sa mga business owners, lalo na yung mga nagmamanufacture. You will learn a lot from that basic elements of supply and demand. It's really an important part of studying the economics or economics in general. So medyo maganda yung magiging topic natin next week. Sana mas marami tayo next week. Anyway, so bago po tayo mag-start ulit, pwede ko bang malaman yung mga nandito? Kung sino po sila? Kung ano po yung background nila, kung ano po yung ginagawa nila. Sila po ba ay estudyante ngayon, nag-aaral, nagtatrabaho, at meron po ba tayo dito mga magte-take ng licensure exam for teachers? Let me know para po may adjust natin ng maayos yung ating discussion. So I know for a fact na iba-iba po yung background ng mga taong nandito. Yung iba sa inyo ay from different walks of life, may mga estudyante, and iba-iba yung purpose kung bakit kayo nandito, 'di ba? Iba-iba yung purpose kung bakit kayo ma-attend ng mga live sessions ni Teacher A. Isabella. So I want to know, just let me know kung ano po yung pinaka reason for you guys being here para po mas matulungan ko pa kayo, Kasi ito lang naman yung paraan. Of course, bukod dun sa mga ginagawa na nating mga bagay-bagay physically to help our nation, to help our fight with COVID, tayo po ay medyo ginagawa natin yung ating kayang gawin, yung kaya nating maitulong para tayo ay makasuporta. Yes po, magte-take po ako this is sa Kuwait. Oh, nice. Good luck po, Miss Kitete. Paano ba i-pronounce yung name mo? Tate? So, good luck po sa inyong examination. At tayo po ay sadyang gusto lang nating makatulong, gusto lang nating makapagbigay ng impormasyon sa ating mga kababayan sa pamamagitan ng ganitong klase ng pagpupulong kung saan na hindi wala tayong nalalabag na guidelines. Magte-take po ng LET yun, si Tio D. Torres. Hi, Tio D. Torres. Marami po tayong mga teachers dito, and this is our way of actually helping you guys, and we are doing this for free because we want to contribute in our society in the best way that we can. Kasi po, imagine yung mga teachers na matutulungan natin dito, pag kayo nakapasa, at kayo yung magiging future ng mga kabataan, kayo yung magiging future ng mga kayo na nakasaalang-alang sa inyo yung future ng Pilipinas. Totoo lang, ako po, bow down. Sobrang saludo po ako sa lahat ng ating mga guro at yung mga magiging guro. I really salute you guys, and I hope that what we are doing right now to help you guys is something na talaga makakatulong, and eventually maipasa nyo rin sa ibang tao at makatulong din kayo sa mga estudyante. Yes sir, earning unit po ako ng EDUC at magte-take po sana this March. Self-review lang ako, thanks. Okay, so marami tayong mga teachers dito, So again, guys, the future of the country not really belongs to you only, but it belongs to all of us. So, but malaki yung major part nyo bilang mga guro. So, I salute you guys. Nagkaroon ako ng session with with the Department of Education, with DepEd. Nagkaroon ako ng seminar sa kanila, DepEd officials last year. I think it was November. Kakagaling ko lang ng States. Nagkaroon ako ng session with Department of Education, and sobrang saya sa pakiramdam na meron tayong mga nagagawang paraan, steps, para kahit paano ay makapag-contribute sa pangangailangan ng bansa. Ako po sir, magte-take sana noong March 20. Masaya naman ako dahil nakapag-review kahit naka-ACQ. Yes. Yes, wala pong problema. You are very welcome po. Welcome na welcome po kayo lahat. Social Studies. Social Studies naman si Jonald. Okay, puro Social Studies. Okay, so welcome po, welcome. It is our pleasure, in fact, karangalan po namin na in behalf of our other online lecturers, si Mr. Denver and yung iba pa, si Teacher A, we really appreciate you. Ayun na nga, meron tayo. Please, sir, I don't know this language. I'm sorry, Mr. Abdi. I actually mentioned earlier that we are gonna have a separate session for other foreign students that are here, because our topic for tonight is actually Taglish. It's Tagalog English. So if you are here right now and you don't know our language, or if anybody else that don't understand our native language, you can just send a message, a PM, private message to the page, Teacher A, and we will set a different time, no, for your session, straight English, so that all of you guys will understand. All right, so let's continue. Let's go back to our let's go back to where we left, no? So we are going to be talking about now the basic problems of economics. Hold on. Okay, so we are going to talk about the basic problems of economics. Alrighty. Okay. So, what are the basic problems of economics? Ito pagdadaanan natin. Simulan muna natin sa 3 basic economic questions. So, tandaan nyo ito, kasama po ito sa drill natin mamaya. Kasama po ito sa ating magiging drill. Okay, so tandaan nyo po ito. Okay, 3 basic economic questions. So kasama to sa mga questionnaire natin mamaya. Economics is the study of how societies, advanced or backward, cope with problems of scarcity in order to lessen, if not eliminate, these problems brought by such economic condition. People have to make choices. These must be made to answer the 3 basic questions arising from scarcity. So question number 1, what commodities are produced and in what quantities? So if in case you don't know, ang definition po ng commodity is a tradable asset, no? So lahat ng tradable goods. So for example, rice is a commodity, sugar is a commodity, oil definitely, gold. So lahat po ng pwede mong direct trade, no? Kung yung mga kunyari meron akong 10 sacks of rice. Kasi back in the days, kung alam niyo yung history, ako hindi ako masyadong sobrang expert sa history, no? Pero back in the days, ang trading naman po natin, kung naalala nyo, meron tayong tinatawag na kalakalang galyan ba yun? Kalakalang galyan. So again, I'm not expert. Kalakalang galyan when big boats from China are actually coming over to the Philippines and some part of Southeast Asia to trade, no? Kasi ang trading naman talaga ever since back in the days, so nagsimula ng economic system, hindi pera. Ang trading yan kunyari, meron akong 10 kambing, papalit ko sa 100 sako ng bigas or 100 sako ng palay, for example. Or meron akong ginto, ipapalit ko sa kunyari meron akong 5 ounce of gold, ipapalit ko sa let's say sugar. Okay? So bigyan mo ako ng 100 sako ng sugar. So that's how trading started with different countries, no? It started with the commodities that can be traded. Kalakalang galyon, yun nga, galleon trade. So tama yung kalakalang galyon na sinasabi ko. So yun, so that's how it actually that's how trading started, no? That's how trading started. The barter change, yes, we all know that. So that's how the trading formulated. So pag sinabi po natin commodities, hello sir, watching from Iloilo City. Ay, meron tayo from Iloilo. Hi kay Evina, magandang hapon. So that's what happens. Goods to goods, tama. Exchange of goods to goods, tama si Tete. Ayan po, yung goods na yan, yan po yung commodity. All right? In our latest terms, it's called commodity. It is a good that can be traded. Hindi mo kailangan ng pera, i-trade mo, no? That is a commodity. So para lang doon sa mga hindi nakakalam. So again, the first question is, what commodities are produced and in what quantities. So ito yung number one, isa sa mga problema ng economic system. So ano yung mga commodities na dapat natin i-produce? Dapat ba tayong mag-focus? Kasi guys, you have to understand, we cannot produce all commodities at the same time. There has to be some trade-offs. There has to be some what we call opportunity cost. There has to be some merong masasacrifice Merong masasacrifice para makapag-mass produce ng specific set of goods or specific commodity. So isa sa main question is, what commodities? Ano yung priority natin, no? Ano yung focus natin? Do we really have to focus on producing only, let's say, rice? But if we produce a lot of rice, then there has to be some sacrifice or sacrificial production when it comes to lumber, for example. Lumber, yung mga kahoy alam niyo naman kung ano mga pinanggagalingan. So, lahat ng mga gamit sa bahay na kahoy at lahat ng mga, for example, clothing as well, it's part of the lumber production. So, yun yung isa sa problema natin Yun yung isa sa problema na kinakaharap ng economic systems ng lahat ng bansa. Ano yung dapat natin i-focus? We have to focus more on rice. But if that happens, then we will produce less lumber, di ba? So, that's number one question. Number two question. Okay, basahin muna natin yung definition. Because of the scarcity of resources, not only resources, manpower. So scarcity of resources, baka kulang sa resources, baka kulang sa manpower, di ba? So yun yung mga bagay na kailangan natin i-consider before we make a decision on what commodities to produce first and in what quantities. Because of the scarcity of resources, people need to make wise decisions on how they will use them by knowing the commodities or which of the commodities are in demand, right? So which commodities are in high demand for the majority of people's economic satisfaction. So dyan na naman tayo papasok sa law of supply and demand or demand and supply. So part of the problems that are being solved, okay, kaya nga economic problems to So part of the problems that are being solved by understanding the study of economics is which should you focus first? And this will also answer the question, ladies and gentlemen, of why do we need, kasi ito yung tanong ng marami sa akin Sir, bakit ba ang Pilipinas kailangan pa mag-import ng rice? Bakit ba ang Pilipinas kailangan pa mag-export ng rice or mag-import ng coconut products? Marami naman tayo dito sa Pilipinas. There are things that this is gonna answer your question, no? Kasi but it has to do with the international trade. So meron tayong mga resources or meron tayong mga commodities na gusto natin na hindi available sa Pilipinas and we have to get from other countries, and because of our trade agreements with different countries, then we have to actually supply them with what we have in the Philippines, and then in turn they will also give us or they will also export us or import us the commodities or the goods that we need that is not available in the Philippines. So, diyan papasok yung mga trade-offs. Diyan papasok yung mga bagay na initially hindi natin masyadong naiintindihan, but when you understand how it really works, then you will have an in-depth understanding of what is going on. Example, decisions on producing more food than clothing or clothing than food, or in the manufacturers are going to produce both. How many clothing and foods are they going to satisfy the needs of the people? So again, papasok tayo, main problem na nasa-solve ng economics ay what commodities need to be produced and in what quantities or how many of them, diba? Number two, how are goods produced? Okay? How are goods produced? Okay? So number one, what? Number two, how? Tandaan yan, kasama po ito sa mga drills natin mamaya. How are goods produced? A society must determine the factors of production, who will do the production, with what resources, and what techniques they will use. So dito na papasok yung how. So na-identify na ng economics natin kung ano yung pangangailangan natin. Kung kunyari sabihin na natin, okay, so for now, today we will produce, for example, 1 million sack of rice, 1 million sack of sugar, and 20,000 pieces of lumber. Diba? So, kunyari lang, in general, yun na yung produce. How are we going to produce them? Yun naman yung isang sinosolve ulit ng economics. So, that's the second question, or the second main question, or basic economic question. How are you going to produce? So, examples, how are we going to produce electricity, water, oil, and coal, or coal? Diba? Who will be working in the farm? Who will be working in the factories, 'di ba? So yan po yung isa sa typical economic system sa isang typical economic system, yan yung isa sa kinakaharap na problema ng isang bansa, 'di ba? So I do understand na these are actually information that is not always available to public, pero these are also amplified information na just to give you a short an idea, ito po yung halos araw-araw na kinakaharap po ng ating Department of Trade and Industry and ng ating pong PSA, okay, ng Statistics Office. Dahil kailangan nilang kunyari, magpapasko, 'di ba? Ito perfect example, magi-Christmas. So paano nila masusuffice yung needs? Paano nakikita nyo kasi yung finished product na, nakikita nyo kung gaano karami yung chicken, kung gaano karami yung rice, kung gaano karami yung mga vegetables or agricultural products sa market. Yun yung nakikita nyo eh. But even before that, there is a regulating body that's trying to, which is the DTI mostly, na trying to actually mediate kung ilan yung dapat nandito, kung ilan yung dapat nandito, at ilan yung dapat nating i-mass produce. Dapat ba tayong kumuha pa ng magsasaka? Dapat pa ba tayong mag-produce ng mas maraming poultry or farm products? Or dapat pa ba tayong kumuha ng additional manpower for this factory dahil dadami yung demand for this? So yan po yung isa, no? Actually, ilan sa mga sinosolve ng ating pong study of economics. So yan, kasama yan. Again, kasama pag papasko, tumataas ang demand ng mga specific products. Bago pa mangyari yan, sinosolve na po ng gobyerno yan, sinosolve na po ng ating DTI yan para kahit papano ay ma-suffice, no, yung pangangailangan sa specific location, sa specific specific city or specific province or whatnot. So yan po yung mga bagay-bagay na ating kailangan alamin. Now, so ito na yung in general. Ito na yung in general 3 basic economic questions. So tandaan niyo po to, kung pwede isulat niyo kasi mamaya may tanong po tayo dito. So 3 basic economic questions would be, number 1, again, what commodities are produced and in what quantities? Anong mga uunahin natin? Uunahin ba natin ang langis? Uunahin ba natin mag-refine ng langis? Uunahin ba natin mag-refine ng sugar? Uunahin ba natin mag-produce ng alcohol? Uunahin ba natin mag-produce ng rice? Those questions. And number 2, how are the goods produced? So alam na natin kung ano yung unahin natin. How are we going to produce them? How much manpower do we need? How many factories do we need, 'di ba? How many employees do we need to hire more? 'Di ba? Ilang magsasaka pa yung kailangan? Ilang machinery pa sa mga palayan yung kailangan nating idagdag para ma-suffice itong production na to? And number 3, for whom are goods produced? So ito na yung last question, last basic economic question. Kasi po, ganito yan no? So pag-usapan natin yung what. So what, for example, what, how, whom, for whom. What, okay, gamitin natin yung example po para mas maganda, makarelate lahat. Gamitin natin yung example itong COVID crisis. What? We need to produce more face mask. We need to produce more alcohol, ventilators, medical supplies, PPEs, whatsoever. Those are the what. Diba? In what quantities? Let's say 2 million face masks, 2 million PPE, 5 million gallons of alcohol, or whatnot, diba? So yun yung mga what and in what quantities. How are we going to produce them? Sa America, for example, dito sa Philippines, I'm not sure ano yung step na ginawa natin. Sa America, sa US, si Donald Trump, they partnered with some private companies, GE Capital, for example. They partnered with GE and some other private big manufacturing companies to actually produce more ventilators, no? Kasi hindi enough yung production, hindi naman nila kayang i-cope up yung sobrang dami ng nagpa-positive 'di ba? Hindi nila kayang i-cope up yung sobrang dami ng nagpa-positive sa let's say for example sa COVID cases, 'di ba? Hindi nila kayang suportahan. Hindi nila kayang suportahan yung pangangailangan ng maraming mga ospital. So what they did is that they had to add more manufacturing services, manufacturing areas for producing more ventilators. So again, as far as I know, GE is one of them and other corporations in the States na kung saan nag-allocate sila ng mga location. Okay, so we will use this much manpower. Dati, kunyari, ang pinoproduce ng manpower na yun, ang pinoproduce nila, for example, ay, let's say, computer. Diba? So medyo yung technical knowledge nandun na paggawa ng ventilator. So kunyari gumagawa sila ng computers, Windows for example, yung company ni Bill Gates. So what they do now is they allocated those manpower. Oh, bawas muna kayo sa pagpo-produce sa manufacturing ng ibang mga technical or ibang mga products na hindi pa technological products. Bawas muna kayo sa manpower diyan. Ilipat muna natin, i-allocate muna natin dito sa pagpo-produce ng ventilators kasi ito yung kailangan ng bansa sa ngayon. So that is how the goods are produced, 'di ba? So the country had to be partnered kasi ang bansa talaga kailangan makipag-partner sa mga malalaking negosyante mo. You can never do it alone. Your economy, no matter how big it is, you can never do it alone. So they partnered with private companies. Nagkaroon sila ng malalaking mga factories na dati ang pinoproduce doon, mga other copper materials or mga, again, technological products, cellphone, mobile phones, laptop. Ang ginawa nila, tinanggal nila lahat yun. If I'm not mistaken, kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, nasa 10 factory yung ginawang factory ngayon ng ventilators. Again, to cope up with what is needed to be produced. Ayun na yung how. Okay? Now, for whom? For whom? Ito yung main question ngayon. Kanino natin ibibigay? Sino ipa-prioritize natin? Unahin ba natin yung mga na ospital na matatanda? Unahin ba natin yung mga batang na ospital? Unahin ba natin yung mga hindi nila kayang huminga talaga on their own? So, kagaya ng example ko kanina sa Italy, they had to choose, di ba? So, for whom? Kanino yung production? Kanino ibibigay yung goods na mapoproduce after mo masagot yung what and how? Kanino? 'Di ba? So if we disregard naman that, kalimutan muna natin yung topic ng COVID-19, kung babalik tayo sa basic goods na pinoproduce. For example, rice. So saang lugar mas kailangan ng maraming rice, 'di ba? Saan nagkakaroon ng shortage of supply? Actually, ito recently lang 'Di ba? Kung naalala niyo, ang ginawa ng DTI, Department of Agriculture, ang ginawa nila, inallocate nila yung ilang mga ilang mga mass-produced vegetables and other farm products, inallocate nila from the provinces. They made sure na dadalhin yun sa Manila kasi dito nagkakaroon sa Metro Manila nagkakaroon ng shortage of supply, and not really shortage of supply but expected shortage of supply. So inallocate nila. So diyan napapasok yung whom are goods produced. Alright? So yan po yung mga bagay, yan yung tatlong main basic economic but important economic questions na sinasagot po ng ating pag-aaral sa ekonomiya, no? So again, what commodities are produced and in what quantities, how are goods produced, and for whom the goods are produced. Okay, let's talk about opportunity cost. Now, ano po yung ibig sabihin ng opportunity cost? Opportunity cost refers to the value of good or service forgone, na wala na, yung na-sacrifice na. The next best choice that you give up when you make an economic decision. So, paulit-ulit kong sinasabi kanina, every decision that we make in the economic, in the general economics perspective, there has to be a sacrificial lamb. There has to be something that you will sacrifice so that you can actually produce enough quantity for a specific good or a specific product. So ito na po yung opportunity cost. Decisions have opportunity cost because choosing one thing in a world of scarcity means giving up something else. So you have to give up something else. For instance, if you want to see a movie, okay, lagyan natin sa layman's example, layman's term. If you want to see a movie, the opportunity cost is that you could have spent your money, food, and time, or you could have saved your money rather than spending it on a movie. So every time na may ginagawa tayong economic decisions, in fact, every day, when you choose to buy alcohol, when you choose to buy liquor, instead of buying food, ano yung naging opportunity cost ng pagbili mo ng liquor? Yung food. Diba? When you choose to buy, when you choose to watch cinema, as per this example, when you choose to watch cinema and pay 400, 500 pesos for that cinema plus yung mga pagkain mo, ano yung opportunity cost na nawala sa'yo? Then that money could have been saved, or even the time could have been spent well in your family. So yun yung opportunity cost. Whenever you do something, there is a sacrifice on something. Diba? So yun po, doon po papasok yung opportunity cost. Or perhaps you could have spent time, ito sinasabi ko nga kanina, doing an activity that would not require you to spend money. Now, unlike opportunity cost, accounting cost cannot be considered as forgone. So there's a difference between opportunity cost and accounting cost. Okay? Let us consider the case of an MBA student who pays $30,000 per year in tuition and other miscellaneous at a private university. For a 2-year MBA program, the cost of tuition and other miscellaneous fees would be $60,000. Diba? For 2 years. This is the monetary cost of education. When making the decision to go back to school, one should consider the opportunity cost. Ano po yung opportunity cost? For example, ikaw, nagtatrabaho ka na. Tas gusto mo makatapos, di ba? Lahat naman tayo gusto makatapos. Ngayon, tinigil mo yung pagtatrabaho mo, you started going back to school, nag-aral ka. 2 years. For example, unang-una, yung tuition fee mo for 2 years, yun ang opportunity cost mo. Pangalawa, yung magkano sana yung kinita mo for 2 years na nagtatrabaho ka. Yun ang naging opportunity cost mo. So if you're earning, let's say, nag-average ka ng 20,000 pesos per month, that's 240,000 a year, that's 480,000 in 2 years, in 24 months, 2 years, 480,000 plus yung tuition mo. So let's say yung tuition mo per sem, let's say 30,000 ka. So 60,000 a year. 612, 120 plus 480, so that's $600,000. So as peso. So 600,000 pesos yung naging opportunity cost mo nung nag-decide ka na mag-aral for 2 years and stop working. It doesn't mean that it's good, it's bad. It doesn't also necessarily mean that it's good. Yun yung opportunity cost mo. And those are the kind of decisions that our government and the economic leaders are making every single day without you even knowing it. There is always an opportunity cost. Sometimes we don't understand some decisions. Sometimes we don't understand why does the government has to sell CCP, for example, as of the moment. Why does the government has to sell this, has to sell that, has to sell our assets, etc., etc. Those are the opportunity costs na kailangan talaga natin gawin so that we can make up for the other things na mas importante. You understand what I mean? So, opportunity cost actually happens every day in our lives. You know, we have to make decisions. We have to sacrifice things. We have to sacrifice other things. We have to sacrifice different things in order for us to achieve or to give more focus on a certain decision or a certain thing that we actually want. So again, going back, that is an opportunity cost. Now, we have what we call the production possibility frontier. Okay? So this is another topic. Production possibility frontier. So ito na naman yung isa na naman sa mga economic problems, no? So opportunity cost, yung three economic questions kanina, tapos itong opportunity cost and then PPF. So these are the problems that we are facing in economics. Production possibility frontier or PPF is deciding what and how things should be produced. All right? So the economy is actually deciding how to allocate its resources among thousands of different possible commodities and services. The production possibility frontier shows the maximum amount of production that can be obtained by an economy, depending, of course, on its technological knowledge and quantity of inputs. Remember that, ha? Nasa drills to mamaya. So the production possibility frontier or PPF shows the maximum amount of production that can be obtained by an economy depending, of course, on the technological knowledge and the quantity of inputs available. All right? So remember that. The PPFs represent the menu of choices available to society. The analysis of PPF illustrates the key economic idea of scarcity, which requires choices and trade-offs. Remember that term, trade-off. Trade-offs in answering the questions of what, how, and for whom. So balik na naman tayo doon sa what, how, and for whom kanina. It also illustrates the opportunity cost or trade-offs and that typically shape PPF, so increasing costs as well. Now, the initial analysis is based on the assumptions of A, given the amount of resources. Okay, tandaan yan, given the amount of resources. B, full employment of all those resources. Okay, amount of resources, labor, or full employment of all those resources. And number 3, the technology. Okay, 1, amount of resources, employment of resources, number 2, and technology. Combinations of outputs that are not previously possible become possible. Combinations of outputs that are not previously possible become possible. Costs of production can be further lowered and shapes of the curves can change the shift. Economic growth, which is derived from either increased outputs or greater output per input, can be described in this PPF context. So meron po tayong graph, may papakita po ako sa inyong graph. Changes in technology also fit in. So tandaan nyo, changes in technology can also weigh in this. May papakita po ako sa inyong graph. Hold on. Okay. Oops. Okay. So, given a particular society that is facing the conserved production of only two products, food and lumber, the productive resources of labor, capital, and land are fixed. All right. They can be made produce or to produce only either lumber or food and nothing else. A full utilization of employment of all the productive resources can be achieved producing only food or only lumber, or mix of quantities of both. Anyway, tama na yung pagbabasa. Let us move on to this graph. I want you guys to analyze and understand what this graph means. Ito na yung tinatawag natin nagkakaroon ng trade-off. Alright? I want you to take a look at it closely and try to understand what it is. Okay? Note, the following table, table 1, shows a schedule of possible combinations of food and lumber. The data of this table can be plotted in two-dimensional diagram, figure 2, which indicates the combination of food and lumber as points A, B, C, D, E, and F. These represent various possibilities of production of food and lumber when all the available resources are employed. So this is basically the graph in which, alam nyo, meron tayong ginagamit. Ginagamit din natin itong graph na to when we are trying to connect the demand and supply to usually yung midpoint niya, it's called equilibrium. Pero this is also used as to illustrate the alternative production of two different goods. Okay? So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, there always has to be a sacrifice. There has to be a sacrificial on the other good to produce more on the other good. So hindi naman komplikado tong graph na to actually. But as you can see, so for example, yung lumber sa kaliwa, okay? Sa kaliwa yung lumber. So yun yung thousands produced. And sa baba po, itong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yung 15, 12, 9, 6, and 3, and 0 sa gilid, that's number of lumbers produced. Okay? Sa baba naman po, food. In general, food. Millions of pounds naman siya. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you will notice in this problem, in this situation, that the more lumber is produced in point A, the more lumber that is produced, the less food can be produced because of the availability of resources and labor and technological again, di ba? So because of resources, labor, and technology, nagkakaroon tayo ng one problem in PPF. So production possibility frontier illustrates that we can actually solve the problem by using this graph. So we have to meet in the middle. Now, what we use actually as an equilibrium in this case is actually point D. So point A, point B, point C requires to produce more lumber and less food, but point E and F can be produced, or we can produce more food but less clothing or less lumber. But in point D, so we will see in this graph na magkakaroon tayo, okay, we can solve the problem by only producing 9,000 lumbers and 3 million pounds of food. So meron tayong nag-meet yung ating problema sa pagpo-produce at sa pagmamanufacture ng dalawang bagay. So this is what we call, ladies and gentlemen, the production possibility frontier. Production possibility frontier in which we are using a graph to actually represent and to solve our underlying issues when it comes to alternative production of different goods. Resulting of curve in production possibility frontier or schedule for food and lumber, each point on the schedule represents trade-off. Trade-off. Tandaan niyo po yung term na trade-off. Okay. For example, if in point A, tingnan niyo itong A, we are producing 15,000 lumbers. 15,000 lumbers, but the trade-off is what? Walang food. Walang food. So we are producing 15,000 lumbers, pero walang food. Walang naipoproduce na food. In point B, same thing. We are producing around 13,000 lumbers, pero we are only producing 1 million pounds of food. So yun naman yung trade-off. So there has to be a trade-off in between. Kailangan magkaroon ng kung kailangan mong mass produce on the other thing, kailangan mong magbawas ng production on the other hand. So that is called trade-off, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that, trade-off. Here, let us examine the various points in figure 2 in order to distinguish between what is attainable and what is not. Point X1 is an achievable, tandaan niyo na, achievable combination of food and lumber because to produce such output, combination requires fewer resources than those available. However, not all resources are employed with that combination. Point C and D, kagaya na sinasabi ko kanina, point C and D on the PPF are achievable with all resources employed. Point Z requires more than the available produces or resources to produce it than the aforementioned explain the shows or the aforementioned explain the shows the trade-off happening between food and lumber. So basically, the trade-off is really having to cut down the resources on the other to produce more on the other. That's the simplicity. That's the simple terms of it. When you talk about trade-off, it's really trading the resources. Resources meaning it can be in terms of actual resources or manpower or technological equipments. So yan po ang ginagawa natin sa production possibility frontier. And many companies are actually using PPF, to be honest with you. Microeconomic level, they're using this. And even macro level, we are also using PPF to understand what we really need to do to achieve the point where merong balance in between two goods. In addition, productive efficiency occurs when production of one good cannot be increased without curtailing production of another another good. When an economy is operating efficiently, it can produce more of the one good by producing less of the other good. So actually itong mga bagay na to hindi na siya ganun ka sobrang importante. Mga small details na lang to. But you can screenshot or picture if you want. So when a society is inside their PPF or point X1 in the figure 2, this means that the economy is performing inefficiently. So point X1 is this, diba? So this is the point X1. And this is the point XZ. So here, the society is producing, the company or the country is producing inefficiently. And here, the country is probably adding more resources. So point X1, tandaan nyo, point D is the perfect point. So point X1 is where we are producing less. So we are not reusing. We have enough resources, but we are producing less of both goods. So that is very inefficient way of producing goods. And sa point Z naman, we are adding more resources than what is available. Okay? Point X1, we have enough resources, but we are not efficient. Point Z, we are adding more resources to produce more of the both food and lumber or more of the both goods in the PPF. So ang ating pong pag sinabi natin na when a society inside the PPF that is point X1, okay? Again, this means that the economy is performing inefficiently. The reason for this is that the society is not maximizing all the resources. Ito sinasabi ko kanina, we have resources but we are not maximizing the resources that are not used or available to them. Simply put, there are available resources that are not used or that remain untapped. So meron pang mga resources na hindi nagagamit. It also shows that employment or unemployment is high or there exists unstable, inefficient government policy that hampers the economic activity. So like political issues siguro ang pwede mag-hamper dyan usually. Political issues that can hamper government policies. Anyway, enough of that. So I hope medyo marami kayo natutunan, ano? So we will be having drills, no? We will be having drills. Again, babalik po tayo dun sa kanina. So para po dun sa ating mga estudyante rito na kayo ay nagpa-participate, again, meron po tayong share and win, okay? Share and win promo. So you can share this video, share the page, and you will win some amount or some sabihin na nating mga pang giveaways ni Teacher A. Okay? Tapos yung pong mga sasagot ng tama dito sa ating mga drills ay meron din po kayong award na makukuha kay Teacher A. First 5 students to answer the right or to answer the right or to give the right answers will be listed. Okay? So ready na ba kayo? Okay, so this first drill is actually subjective. This is just my main question to you guys. So I have two questions and I want you to answer with your own answers. Kasi ito pong first drill natin is very subjective, ano? It depends, walang right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer here. Pero doon po sa second part of the drill, meron po tayong true or false and multiple choices. So enumeration. But right now, these first two questions, I want you guys to answer. Give me your answers in your own words. So first question is that how can you apply, in your own words, in your own understanding, how can you apply the economic concept of opportunity cost in your personal life? So in choosing between leisure or entertainment, studies, family, and friends. So again, the opportunity cost is the one that you have to sacrifice in order for you to focus more on the other side. So how can you apply the concept of opportunity cost to be a better person, to have a better life when we talk about your life personally between leisure, studies, family, and friends? So for example, unahan ko na kayo. I'll give you an example, no? Isa sa mga answers na pwede kong isagot sa inyo. My personal answer for you guys para magkaroon kayo ng example. So how can I apply the economic concept of opportunity cost in my life? Diba? So being able to understand the opportunity cost or the concept of opportunity cost, this time, magkakaroon na ako ng better decision making when it comes to what or when or who or why or those things that I am making or or those decision making that I'm doing actually every day. Let's say, for example, by being able to understand the concept of opportunity cost, this time around, kaya ko nang mag-decide to actually look at which is gonna be better. So for example, if I go out, kunyari walang COVID-19 na lockdown yan, if I go out tonight and drinking in a club, or drinking with friends, partying, whatsoever, ang opportunity cost ko doon is probably at least 2,000 pesos. At least 2,000 pesos. Na yung 2,000 pesos na yun sana, ay nagamit ko na either for savings, or na itulong ko sa ibang tao in terms of donation, or na ibili ko ng pagkain, or na i-invest ko sa isang bagay na mas useful. That 2,000 pesos is the opportunity cost of me having fun outside. So, right now, I will be able to make better decisions because I understand the concept of opportunity cost. And I know exactly kung ano yung sinasang-alang-alang ko. Pag ganyan ka mag-isip, actually, mas maganda yung magiging sitwasyon ng buhay mo kasi alam mo na kung ano yung sinasacrifice mo for every decision that you make, there is always an opportunity cost. So again, babalik yung question sa inyo. No right or wrong answer dito. Wag po kayong mag-alala. Wala pong maling sagot dito. Lahat ng sagot dito tama kasi it's based on your personal life. So again, babalik ko po yung tanong sa inyo. How can you apply the economic concept of opportunity cost in your personal life? So let's say, as an example, between leisure or having fun and studies, or between family and friends. I'm waiting for answers. Again, meron po tayong kanina yung mga active sumagot kanina. I need your answers now. Meron po tayong sacrifice many things. Okay? Si Lindy. Ito na yung dito na papasok yung concept of what you are sacrificing for every decision that you make, because you know that there's always an opportunity cost in everything, in every decision we do. Well, be it time, be it money, diba? Be it relationship, there's always an opportunity cost, diba? So, yun yung importante. So, sa tama naman yung sagot ni Ms. Lindy Roldan. So, ito, maganda yung sagot ni Ma'am Rosella. Para sa akin, sir, unahin ko muna yung needs ko kaysa sa wants ko. Example, gaya nito, kailangan mag-load ako para maka-view ako sa inyo. Kasi di naman lagi bihira, ganito lang ang online reviewer. So ang naging opportunity, ano yung naging opportunity cost mo to load here? Ano yung naging cost nito, Ma'am Rosella? Sacrifice many things for us to reach the goal. Yes. So, sige, gusto ko lang maging specific kay Ma'am Rosella. So, ano yung naging opportunity cost nito para makapag-load ka, para makapanood ka? Ano yung sinacrifice mo? Kunyari, nag-load ka 100 pesos. So, ano yung paggagamitan mo sana ng 100 pesos? Yun yung opportunity cost eh. Si Donald, assessment of financial status when budgeting plan. Yes, tama. So tama rin yung sagot ni Donald. Well, again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's more of your personal life. It's more of your personal, how it affects you. No, it's your relation to the topic. It's your relation to the opportunity cost. So assessment of financial status then budgeting plan. Very good answer. I like that. Tapos gusto ko rin yung sagot ni Rosella kasi very specific siya. So sabi ni Ma'am Rosella, para doon po sa mga hindi nakakabasa, ang sabi ni Ma'am Rosella, inuna niya daw muna na mag-load para makapanood siya para makapag-review siya, para maka-attend siya nito. So nagkaroon siya ng opportunity cost. So what was the opportunity cost? How much did you load? And saan pa dapat napunta yung pera na yon na kinailangan mo i-sacrifice so that you can attend this session? Needs, sir. Example, clothes, foods, etc. Yes, kay Ako Juan. Tama rin po. Ako Juan, that's right. That's absolutely right. So anyway, so tama naman yung mga sagot nyo actually. At sabi ko nga, there's no right or wrong, pero tama pa rin. I really like how you answer, how you analyze by yourself. So si Franklin Valdez, ang sabi niya, instead of spending time going to a movie or gimmicks, I will spend my time at home reading books, or I will be practical, save my money also. Very good kay Franklin Valdez. I assume isa ka sa mga estudyante na magkakaroon ng LAT exam siguro. So kay Franklin Valdez, very good answer then. Give up my work to study again as a unit earner. Yes, yan ang isang opportunity cost, di ba? So ang opportunity cost mo, you have to compute. Magkano yung mawawala sa'yo? How much, gano'ng katagal ka mag-aaral? Kung unit earner ka, sige, gano'ng katagal yung isa-sacrifice mo? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? How much yung mawawala sa'yo? At how much yung ibabayad mo, na tuition fee mo, whatsoever. So, yan yung opportunity cost mo, di ba? So, very good, guys. Very good answers. Instead of travel abroad, worth 50K, with my partner, since canceled, I decide to refund it and paid for down payment para sa house and lot for a future. Very good. So, again, your answers are in general, I'm loving those answers, guys. I am loving your answers. So, tama po yan kay Jeneline Dai. Si Aimee rin, tama rin si Aimee. So tama po yan. Instead of travel abroad, nag-down payment ka na lang. So ang opportunity cost mo, leisure. Anong ginawa mo? If you see what happened there, ang opportunity cost mo, yung leisure mo. For what? For the future of your family. So that is an opportunity cost. Diba? Ganyan po yung economic decisions that we are making. So as you see, guys, economics is not just about the companies. It's not just about micro level. It's not just about the, big companies or big economies of different countries. It's also about our daily lives. No, it's making the right decision using numbers. Okay, second question. How can you make use? Ito medyo tricky question to actually. How can you make use of the PPF to represent your choices and trade-offs in your decision? So, paano po natin magagamit yung production possibility frontier, yung graph na nakita nyo kanina, kung saan nagkakaroon ng, okay, balikan natin yung graph para mas maganda. May example tayo. So, ito yung graph, di ba? So, ito yung graph. So, lumber sa taas, sa baba ay food. Now, again, I'm sorry, medyo hindi ako technical dito sa StreamYard, hindi ko siya masulatan, pero I hope you can see my mouse, my cursor moving right now. Ay, hindi niyo yata nakikita yung cursor ko. But anyway, so sa gilid, sa left side is lumber, sa right side is sa baba sa food, 'di ba? So what you can do is use the PPF to your personal life. For example, sa example ni Ma'am Jeneline or sa example ni Ma'am Amy kanina. So pwede mong ilagay sa left side is your working hours, sa right side naman yung studies mo, 'di ba? So diyan mo magkakaroon ka ng unit of measurement kung saan dapat mag-meet. Do you have to have a lot of trade-offs talaga? Kailangan mo ba talagang i-sacrifice yung work mo o pwede mo naman pagsabayan? Baka pwede sila mag-meet somewhere at a point kung saan magkakaroon ng again sa law of supply and demand, equilibrium. So baka pwede naman sila mag-meet. It's up to you. So for example, number of hours, 24 hours in a day, isama mo yung 7 hours, 8 hours sleep, i-divide mo siya, kaya mo siyang gawan Kaya mo siyang gawan kung mahilig kayo sa graph. Kaya nyo siyang gawan ng actual example. So ikaw ngayon, kunyari, kunyari, sino ba mga mister na dito? Sino mga may asawa na? Di ba? Pag gumagawa ka ng decision sa bahay, kunyari may gusto kang bilhin na bagay, na kunyari motor, big bike or kotse, na may kotse pa naman kayo pero gusto mong bumili ng bagong kotse or gusto mong bumili ng bagong damit, sapatos, Jordan, gumamit ka ng production possibility frontier. Gumamit ka nito. Ito yung pakita mo kay Mrs., di ba? Pakita mo kay Mrs. Pinag-aralan ko ng mabuti yan, oh. Ito yung trade-offs ko. Ito yung opportunity cost ko, di ba? So pwede kayong gumamit ng ganyan, guys. Promise, this will help you a lot. But kidding aside, production possibility frontier will actually be able to help you determine, in specific kung saan ka dapat nagfo-focus, right? So babalik tayo kay question number 2. How can you make use of the PPF, production possibility frontier, to represent your choices and trade-offs in your decision? Actually, ito very, very subjective na to eh. So I think I would not wait for your answers anymore. We can probably move on to the drills na merong multiple choices. So, ang sagot ni Rosella, kailangan mag-sacrifice ako, sir, na di muna magme-merienda ng isang araw para may pang-load ako. Kasi mas kailangan ko ito para mas madagdagan ang aking kaalaman. Very good, Miss Rosella. Very good, very good, very good. I like your answer. So, ibig sabihin, ang naging trade-off mo, you know what your trade-off was? Or sorry, yung naging opportunity cost mo was your food. So, imbis na panglaman tiyan, ang ginawa mo, panglaman utak, which is a good economic decision actually. So, imbes ng pang merienda mo, pinang-load mo na lang para maka-attend ka ng mga ganitong sessions para matuto ka ng additional information, knowledge, para ikaw ay magkaroon ng better future. So, that is a good answer and analogy. I like your analogy, Ms. Rosella. Very good po kayo dyan. Very good po kayo dyan. Anyway, we will move on to our drills. Hindi ko naaantayin yung mga sagot nyo sa number 2 kasi medyo tumatagal na tayo. At palagay ko, hindi na rin tayo aabot. Anong oras na ba? Palagay ko, hindi na rin tayo aabot, unfortunately, doon sa economic performance of the Philippines. Siguro next week we discuss yun. Sorry, medyo humaba yung oras natin. Next week sa pagka-explain ko ng basic elements of supply and demand, yun yung topic natin next week. I-discuss ko rin yung topics for economic performance of the Philippines and stuff like that. So pwede natin pong pag-usapan yan. Pero as of the moment, hindi natin kakayanin eh. So magkaroon lang po tayo ng drills, and then after ng drills, mag-move on na tayo. Anyway, so knowing advantages and disadvantages are the pros and cons in making choices and trade-offs. Yeah, tama naman yung sagot mo, Mr. Herman. Knowing the advantages, pros and cons of each, diba? At ano yung kailangan mong i-sacrifice, hereby trade-offs. So very good po sa inyo lahat. I really appreciate your time. Now we will go through our drills. So ito na naman po tayo sa merong tamang sagot. Isa lang yung tamang sagot. Sa kada question. And kung sino po yung unang-unang makakasagot ng tama, meron pong ililista po kayo ni Teacher A, ililista po kayo ni Mr. Ruel, at meron po kayong reward from Teacher A. Alright? So, again, dalawa po yung promo natin yan. Yung isa, yung share and win. Yung pangalawa, meron po tayong reward for those who will be able to answer the questions correctly. Okay? First of all, I would like to, in advance, I would like to congratulate all of you for being here and spending your time with me for more than 2 hours na tayo nagkasama-sama at mas pinili mo na imbis na ikaw ay mag-Netflix at manood ng kung ano. Wala namang masama sa Netflix, paminsan-minsan okay rin makapag-entertain tayo. Pero mas pinili mo na matuto at lamanan yung utak mo kaysa sa ibang bagay na pwede nagfe-Facebook ka lang ngayon or baka nagti-TikTok ka lang ngayon or kung ano pa man bagay na ginagawa mo na wala namang kabuluhan. You are a winner. Tandaan mo yan. Lahat kayo ngayon na nanonood, lahat ng 30 plus pa na. Kanina we were 60 plus, ngayon 30 ano na lang, 31, 32. So lahat kayo nandito ngayon, congratulations. You have a bright future. Believe me, maniwala kayo sa akin. Yung gantong klase ng urge. Kasi guys, iba kasi yung self-education eh. Ako po, ako po ang education ko sa totoo lang, wala akong may pagmamalaki na cum laude or whatsoever kasi ang education ko was really, it was very, sabihin na natin, irregular, no? Kasi nung nag-aaral ako, hindi ako masipag mag-aral, pero palagi naman ako nasa top class, kaya lang, hindi talaga ako masipag mag-aral. I had to stop my studies, nagtrabaho ako kahit di naman kailangan, tapos nag-aral ulit ako, tapos medyo naging irregular po yung studies ko hanggang sa nakita ko yung sarili ko being an online learner. So marami po akong kinuwang courses online. Actually, marami akong tinapos na course, mga short courses, 6 months to 1 year online. So kaya ko po ginagawa to ngayon kasi po this is our way of paying back or giving back to the society. Kasi ako, I am a product of online learning. I am a product of online learning. Kung ano man po yung narating ko ngayon at wala man ako may pagmamalaki na malaking achievement sa school, pero kahit pa paano yung mga natutunan ko at somehow meron na rin tayong mga natutulungan na tao dahil sa online learning. So this is exactly what we're trying to do, specifically right now dahil sa lockdown and a lot of things. Imbes na magharap kayo ng mga ibang bagay na gagawin, you are here. You want to learn. You want to be knowledgeable. You want to add something else to your mind, 'di ba? Gusto mo matuto, yung hunger for knowledge, hunger for information, hunger for knowing. I believe me guys, this will bring you to many places. Many places. Maniwala kayo sa akin. Kung ano man yung gusto nyo, kasi hindi naman tayo pare-parehas eh. Most of you guys here are gonna be teachers soon. So kung ano man yung gusto nyo, you have to actually employ that kind of curiosity in your minds, that kind of hunger for knowledge, that kind of, yung gusto mo talagang alamin. Kasi the best education is the one that is self-driven. Ulitin ko po sa lahat ng mga nandito ngayon, pakinggan nyo mabuti to. The best education is the one that is self-driven. Hindi yung pinipilit ka lang ng nanay mo na mag-aral. Kasi ako yun yung hindi ko maintindihan ng bata ako eh. Ayoko kasi nung pinipilit ako. When I started learning because I wanted to, when I started learning because I was curious, I needed to get more information, that's the time I became more knowledgeable about the things. Pero yung pinipilit ka lang, pupasok ka dahil gusto ng nanay mo, kailangan graduate ka, you will not learn eh. So the best education is the one that is self-driven. So you guys, obviously, all of you guys here right now are self-driven learners. So congratulations and thank you for your time. Hindi pa tayo tapos, magdidrills lang tayo. So again, gusto ko lang ilabas yun, yung I wanted to inspire you, all of you guys that are watching right now, that are still here. Nangalahati na tayo at lahat kayo nandito pa rin. Anyway, so we will proceed, no? We will proceed. Now, this is the drills that I prepared for all of you. Again, yung questions po dito came from the previous reviewer nung LET exams. So makakatulong po doon sa mga nagre-review. There are only 15 questions. And the first few questions are basically true or false. Tapos yung last few questions will be multiple answers. So let's start with the first question. Again, remind ko lang po, the first to answer the question correctly will receive a gift from tawag dito. You will get a gift from Teacher A. Okay, sorry. May mental block na ako. So magkakaroon po kayo ng regalo from Teacher A pag tama, yung una makakasagot ng tama. Okay? So yung first 10 questions natin is again true or false. The first question will be, economic scarcity simply means, hindi simple means simply means, sorry kung mali yung yung pagkaka-typo. Yung typo, sorry. Economic scarcity simply means that the production of goods and services are limited because the resources to produce them are limited. Is it true or false? Is it true or false? Again, economic, tandaan nyo mabuti to yung term na simply. Medyo medyo tricky tong tanong na to. Economic scarcity simply means that the production of goods and services are limited because the resources to produce them are limited. So, okay, tama, ang pinakaunang tamang sagot po, very good kay Ma'am Jeneline Dai. The answer is false. Again, very tricky question to, alam ko. So, Mr. Teacher A, pakilista na po si Miss Jeneline Dai. So, the correct answer here is false. Alam ko, tricky po tong tanong na to. Tricky to. So, ang unang pwede nyong isagot talaga is true. Dahil tricky nga tong question na to eh. Guys, the term here is the simply means. Diba? Scarcity. Lahat po ng mga question and answer natin dito puro tricky. So, basahin nyo mabuti. Pag sinabi mo yung term na simply means, ibig sabihin, it only means, diba? Ang scarcity po, hindi lang naman siya sa it's not limited to the amount of resources. It's also driven by the demand. Okay? So, pag sinabi po yung term na scarcity, dapat makikita mo yung term na resources and demand. Dito sa statement na to, wala namang demand na nakalagay. So, this is false. So, tama po si Miss Jeneline Dai. Very good kay Miss Jeneline Dai. So pakisulat na po yan. So siya po yung unang tamang sagot. Tama rin yung sagot ni Rosella, kaya lang naunahan ka na po. Tama rin yung sagot ni... So yun, puro kayo true. Anyway, it's okay. Again, this is a tricky question. So I understand kung magkakamali kayo. Again, bakit po siya naging false? Kasi the scarcity is not limited to the factors of supply of resources available to product or to produce a quantity of goods. It's also driven by the factor of the demand of the people, the demand of the society. So kaya po to false, ano? Okay, very good again, Ma'am Jeneline. Next question. Clean air. Ito, tricky na naman to, guys. Tricky to. Actually, hindi pala to tricky. Madali lang pala to. So, clean air is considered as a scarce good and thus commands a price. May bayad ba ang clean air? True or false? Binabayaran mo ba yung paghinga mo? Siguro in the future. So tama na naman po si Miss Jeneline Dai, pero let's give chance to others. Okay, so ang unang sumagot ng tama si Jeneline Dai, pero dahil nakatama ka na kanina, si Aku Juan naman ang isilista natin, Teacher A. Si Aku Juan, please pakilagay na lang yung actual name mo. So ang tama sagot po dito ay false. So tama po kayo, Amy, Rosella, Jonald, Theody, and Lindy. Bakit? Kasi clean air is free. Okay? Wala pong bayad yan. So, the correct answer is false. Question number 3. The question of how goods and services are produced in an economy is not an economic question, but primarily an accounting or technological question. So, ito, pagmasdan nyo na mabuti, the question of how goods and services are produced is not an economic question, but an accounting or technological problem. True or false? Number 3, go. Actual name ko po ay Bernadette. Sige, Maramag Bulang. Sige, pakilista po yan. Okay, so the correct answer here, so pakilagay na lang po, kagaya ng ginagawa ni Sir Jeriel, ilagay nyo po, kunyari, yung answer nyo, anong item yan? Number 3? 3, so lagay nyo 3 false. Kunyari, number 4 na tayo, so 4 false. Mga ganon. So lagay nyo po ng item, no? Para hindi nagkakahalo-halo. So tama po lahat ng sagot nyo, pero ang pinakaunang sumagot ay si Jeneline na naman. But again, you already have a reward. So doon tayo sa pangalawang nakasagot ng tama, which is Franklin Valdez. So Teacher A, pakilista po, Franklin Valdez. Ang tamang sagot po dito ay false. So everybody else, tama naman, Jeriel, si Ro, Herman, Theody, Lindy, Jonald, Sherilyn, Josie, Rosella. Si Rosella, mali po yung true. This is false. Because the question of how goods and services are produced is an economic question, hindi po sa accounting. Okay? Accounting basing on the prices na eh. More of the pricing na. Kung accounting kung accounting problem na. This is an economic problem, the producing, 'di ba? So, this is an economic problem. The correct answer here is false. Okay? Number 4 statement, the difference between positive and normative economics is that normative deals with facts, whereas positive based on value judgment. Okay? So, number 4, kanina po ay inulit-ulit natin to. Actually, inulit-ulit ko to kanina. Nagtagal ako sa topic na to. So, I hope all of you will get the right answer. So, the difference between positive and normative economics is that the normative deals with facts, whereas positive based on value judgment. So, ang tamang sagot po, unang-unang sumagot ng tama ay si Josie. Tama ba? Si Josie Cabe. Siya ba yung unang tumagot? Pero walang number eh. So, si Aku Juan. So, lagyan nyo po ng lagyan nyo po ng item para alam natin kasi baka mamaya yung huling question pa yung sinagot nyo. So, ang unang sumagot ng tama ay si Aku Juan or si Bernadette, in which meron ka ng gift, may reward ka na. Si Jeneline Dai, meron ka na rin reward, tama rin yung sagot mo. Ang pangatlong sumagot ng tama ay si Ro. So bigyan pa rin natin ng points, Teacher A, bigyan pa rin natin ng points, sorry. Dapat kasi sumasagot pa rin sila, so dapat may points pa rin sila. Teacher A, bigyan pa rin natin ng points, si Ako 1, si Jeneline, ito yung mga mababilis sumagot eh. Tapos yung bagong point ngayon, 1 point ngayon, si Ro AC Sal, Ro Axal, siya may bagong 1 point. So point system na lang tayo, Teacher A. Lagyan natin ng point system. So tama po, ang tamang sagot ay false. Okay? False ang tamang sagot. Jonald, false pala Sir Rosella. Nagkabaliktad sila. Yes. Jeneline Dai, very good. Nagkabaliktad sila. Ingrid, false. Yes. So why is it false? Kasi po, guys, normative is based on value judgment, whereas positive or positive economics is based on factual data. Di ba sinabi ko nga kanina? We as economists, what we do is we derive our solutions based on positive economics other than normative economics. Kasi po yung normative, it's based on what is, what was, what can be, what could have been. Puro mga ano lang siya, subjective. Puro mga kuro-kuro. Okay? Whereas the positive economics is based on actual data, numbers. So, this statement is false kasi nagkabaliktad po siya. Yes, Mr. Roel, point system. Okay, number 5. Question number 5. Unemployment exceeded 10% in much of 2008-2009. And price inflation soared during the late 2011. This statement is an example of positive economic analysis. True or false? Kagaling lang natin dyan, ha? Unemployment exceeded 10% in March of 2008 and price inflation soared. Wait lang. Tingnan nyo na mabuti yung mga ginamit nating term. 10%, 2008, 2011, inflation, guys. Okay, so ang unang sumagot ng tama po ay si Herman. The correct answer here is true. So Herman, please give a point to Herman. Mali po yung mga false nyo. This is true. Guys, positive is using factual data. Unemployment exceeded 10%. It's a factual data. When? 2008, 2009. It's a factual data. The price inflation soared during the late 2011. This is a factual data. Facts po ang ginagamit natin dito. Hindi tayo kuro-kuro lang. So this is true. This is a positive economic analysis. So ang unang sumagot ng tama is, again, si Herman. Very good kay Herman, a tip. So this is true actually. Sherilyn, Jeneline, tama yung sagot. Si Caroline, si Ingrid, Christian, si Lindy, Franklin. So yan po, true ang tamang sagot. Question number 6. Okay? Question number 6. Macroeconomics differs from microeconomics in that it covers aggregate. Tandaan niyo yung term na aggregate, ha? Aggregate. Macroeconomics, aggregate. Macroeconomics, aggregate. Economic performance. Is this true? Is this statement true? Or is this statement false? Go. Statement number 5. Okay. Macroeconomics differs from microeconomics in that it covers aggregate economic performance. So, tamang sagot po ay unang-unang sumagot ng tama ay si Roak. 1 point goes to Roak. Another point goes to Herman. Another point goes to Lindy. So, yan, 3. Si Lindy, wala pa kasi siyang point kanina. So, bigyan mo siya ng point ngayon. And si Jeneline and si Amy. So, first 5. Sige, gawin natin first 5 to. Gawin natin first 5. Jeneline and Amy, bigyan mo ng 1 point. Mr. Teacher A, pakicheck na lang yung first 5 answers. And the rest naman, si Jeriel, Ingrid, Caroline, Franklin, puro tama naman yung sagot nyo. It's just that naunahan lang kayo. So, first 5 lang tayo magbibigay ng point system. Tama, mas maganda nga point system na lang. No? Mali pala yung ginawa kong, kanina. Yung ginawa kong sistema. 1 winner for sharer, 4 winners for the drill. Yes, pointing system to. Guys, pointing system. So, pakicheck na mabuti, Teacher A, kung sino yung mga nakasagot ng tama in first 5, and then we will give them a reward. So, this is true because macroeconomics differs, because macroeconomics po is a whole in general. Ano ba yung term na aggregate, di ba? Pinagsama-sama. So, aggregate is a collective economic performance that it covers. So, ibig sabihin po, pag sinabing macroeconomics, it's a whole level, kaya po to true. Okay? So this statement is very true. Question or statement number 7. A point under the PPF. Ito na, nasa na tayo ha? Problems, basic problems of economics na tayo. A point under the PPF or production possibility frontier represents, typo na naman, represents an impossible combination. Tandaan niyo yung term na impossible combination of outputs for the economy to achieve given the usual assumption model. So, is it impossible? Siguro doon na tayo magbabase. Imposible ba yan o posible yan? True or false? Tandaan yung term na impossible, ha? Doon po tayo magbabase. Impossible. Is it impossible? Okay, 1 point goes to Jeneline Dai. Tapos na. Wala na, tapos na. Yun na yun. Si Jeneline lang po ang nakasagot ng tama. So, this is false. This is false. Okay? Reward shall be in the form of much broader econ teachers. Yeah. Probably, we can do that, yes. So, wala na. Late na kayo. Late na, Christian and Marson. Rate na yung mga sagot niyo. ang may point lang po dito is Jeneline Dai. Napakatalinong estudyante ni Jeneline Dai. Puro tama ang sagot. So, Mr. Teacher A, pakibigyan po ng points si Jeneline Dai. The answer here is false. Bakit? Because of the term impossible. Guys, it's all about possibility. The production possibility frontier. Kaya nga po siya possibility di ba? Titignan mo na lang yung terms, an impossible combination. No, it's the possible combination of outputs for the economy to achieve. Di ba? So kaya nga po siya possible, di ba? Kaya nga siya production possibility frontier. So it is possible. It is not impossible. So the correct answer is false. So si Miss Jeneline Dai ang tama. Next question, number 8 or statement, number 8. In ascertaining the cost benefits, ito, tricky question na naman to guys. Tricky question. In ascertaining the cost benefits answers to a decision making, only monetary costs and benefits shall be considered. Okay, ito, I remember, in-stress ko to kanina yung statement na to In-stress ko to sa first few topics natin. True or false? In ascertaining, tandaan niyo yung mga term kasi mga tricky question. Ganyan talaga yung mga exams puro tricky Only, yung term na only the monetary costs, benefits shall be considered. So, ang unang nakasagot ng tama po ay si Christian. And then, so Teacher A, pakibigyan ng point si Christian, pakibigyan din ng point si Caroline, pakibigyan din po ng point si Jeriel, pakibigyan din po ng point si Jonald and si Franklin. So we have 5 answers or we have first 5 people na sumagot ng tama. So bakit po false ang statement na to? Bakit false? Number 1, yung term na only. Kasi po, the cost benefits is not only about the monetary and the benefits, it's also the efficiency. Yan yung term na gusto ko na kanina ini-stress ko It's the efficiency. Efficiency. It's not just about the monetary cost and the benefits, it also includes the efficiency. Okay? So, kaya po false tong statement na to. So, very good guys. Very good mga tumagot ng tama. Number 9. The production possibility frontier shows the economic concept of trade-offs and opportunity costs. True or false? Ito yung pinaka-latest topic natin or pinaka-latest discussion natin. Siguro naman natatandaan niyo pa ito ngayon. So, production possibility frontier shows the economic concept of trade-offs and opportunity costs. Is it true or is it false? So antayin ko muna magkaroon ng 5 tamang sagot bago ako bago ko sabihin yung tamang sagot. Okay, then we have 5. So 1 point goes to Marson Hill, 1 point goes to Roak, 1 point goes to Christian, 1 point goes to Lindy, and another point goes to Ako. First 5 students na tumama yung sagot. So the correct answer po here is true. Di ba? Kakatapos lang natin. This is true because the production possibility frontiers shows trade-offs and opportunity costs. Di ba? So trade-offs and opportunity costs is shown in the graph of production possibility frontier. Last question ng true or false. Goods, eto, tricky to guys. Maniwala kayo sa akin. This is very tricky. Goods are free of charge or goods that are free of charge are by definition of free goods. Pag sinabi bang free goods, ito yung mga goods that are free of charge. Yun lang ba yung term doon? Is it true or false? Ang term ba na ginagamit natin sa free goods is because it's free of charge? If your answer is true, why? And if your answer is false, tell me why. So okay, so tama na, meron na tayong 5 correct answers. So the correct answer is false. So 1 point goes to Marson Hill, 1 point goes to Roak, 1 point goes to Jenilyn Dai, and 1 point goes to Franklin. And sino pa ba? 1 point goes to Jeriel. So why is it false? Sino makakasagot ng tama? Bibigyan natin ng 5 points kung sino makakasagot kung bakit po false tong statement na to. Bibigyan ko ng 5 points. This is another thing na in-stress ko kanina, yung term. There's a term for that. In-stress ko kanina nung nag-start tayo. Bakit yung oxygen? Why is it allocative mechanism? Very good po kay Jenilyn Dai. Teacher A, pakibigyan po ng 5 points si Miss Jenilyn Dai. Very good, I like it. The right answer is because of the allocative mechanism. Yung term na ini-stress ko kanina, di ba? Why is clean air free good? Why is it a free good? Because there's no allocative mechanism for free air unless it goes, to situations in hospital where the oxygen needs an allocative mechanism. So, yan po yung tamang sagot. Yung term na allocative mechanism. Very good. Napakagaling napakaganda ng photographic memory ni Miss Jenilyn Dai, or baka may mga notes siya. So, Teacher A, pakibigyan po ng another 5 points si Jenilyn Dai. Again, allocative mechanism. That's absolutely correct. Okay, now, dito na tayo sa multiple questions. 1 to 10 to. 1 to 10. Bibilisan natin ng konti isa lang po yung kukunin nating tamang sagot. Yung isang pinakaunang tamama, yun lang po kukunin natin para mas mabilis. By unlimited human wants, we mean A, people are greedy and could never be satisfied. B, people wish to consume more goods and services in total than the economy can have resources to produce. C, a person can never get enough of a particular good or service. And D, all of the above. Lahat ng sagot dito tama. Bibigyan ko na kayo ng cue. Lahat po ng sagot dito tama, pero ang gusto ko yung pinakatamang sagot. Yung pinakatamang sagot. Okay, very good. Ang unang tumama ay si Marson Hill. The most correct answer here is B. Okay? Again, lahat po ng sagot ay tama, pero ang pinakatamang sagot is that people wish to consume more goods and services in total than the economy have resources to produce. So yan sinasabi nating unlimited human wants, di ba? Nasusobrahan na yung mga gusto ng mga tao na hindi naman kayang i-produce ng ekonomiya ng isang bansa. So that is absolutely the right answer, B. All right? So very good. Okay, 1 point goes to Marson Hill. Okay? Marson Hill. Number 2, the definition of economics includes the ideas of A, how people live by producing scarce goods and services. B, how people live by distributing scarce goods and services. C, how people live by consuming scarce goods and services. And D, all of the above. So pakilagay lang po yung item at yung answer nyo. So number 2, and then yung answer nyo. Okay, it's done. So meron na po tayong tamang sagot. Teacher A, pakibigyan ng 1 point si Jeriel Tandingan. Jeriel Tandingan, you have 1 point. Tama po, letter D. It's all of the above. Lahat naman yung pasok sa economics Definition of economics. Diba? Number 1, yung letter A, producing. Yung letter B, distributing. Yung letter C, consuming. Yung producing, it's more of actually lahat to it's actually in the microeconomic study Yung effects is on the macro level. Pero this is on the microeconomics level. Ito pong mga answer na to. So the correct answer is letter D, all of the above. Kasi producing, distributing, consuming is part of economics. 3, the 3 basic economic questions. Ito, tandaan nyo mabuti ito Tandaan nyo mabuti ito. Kanina po natin iniulit-ulit to actually. The 3 basic economic questions that every society must answer is the following. A, what, how, and when. B, what, for whom, and how. C, who, what, and where. And D, where, when, and how. So, meron na po tayong tamang sagot. Actually, kanina, inulit-ulit natin itong topic na to. The right answer is B. So, tama po. Ang first, 1 point goes to Marson Hill. Kasi po, di ba nga kanina, what commodities, in what quantity, For whom are we going to produce the commodities, and how are we going to produce? So yun po yung tamang sagot, letter B, di ba? Yung binigay kong examples kanina, so this is absolutely letter B. And 4, an example of microeconomics problem would be A, the inflation versus unemployment trade-off. B, the economic growth versus equity dilemma over time. C, the trade deficit between or versus federal expenditure deficit trade-off. Or D, none of the above. So what's the answer to number 4? Tandaan nyo microeconomics po ito. An example of microeconomics problem would be A, B, C, or D. Tandaan nyo po yung term na micro. Okay, very good again kay Miss Jenilyn Dai. Another 1 point goes to Jenilyn Dai. The correct answer po is letter D, none of the above. Bakit? Again, micro level po. Microeconomics, all of this information, all of this statement are actually on a macro level. Inflation, unemployment, macro po yan, country. Economic growth, equity dilemma, it's a country's economic problem. The trade deficit, pag napakinggan yung term na trade deficit, actually mas advanced economics na Pero trade deficit and federal expenditure, pag narinig yung term na federal expenditure, dyan papasok yun. Siguro yung C kasi medyo confusing sa inyo, no? Dahil hindi nyo pa naman alam yung terms na yan. Pero basically, this is all statement are actually on a macro level. It's macroeconomics. So ang tamang sagot po is letter D, none of the above. So si Ms. Jenilyn Dai, the first one to answer the correct answer. The first one to give the correct answer. 5, the main usefulness of the production possibility frontier is to illustrate A, the law of decreasing costs, B, the impact of scarcity in the economy, C, the equity problem of income distribution, or D, the pace of technological change. Okay? Ito medyo confusing din tong question na to, pero I remember inulit-ulit ko kanina yung term na yan. So the main usefulness of the production possibility frontier is to illustrate, is it the law of decreasing costs, impact of scarcity, the equity problem ba to, equity, or the pace of technological change? Siguro walang makakasagot sa inyo ng tama, feeling ko. Kasi medyo confusing talaga tong question na to Okay, very good, Lindy. First to have the right answer. Top fan pa natin to. So, Miss Teacher A, pakilista na lang si Lindy Roldan. So, that's the right answer. Ang correct answer po is letter D, the pace of technological change. Guys, the production possibility frontier illustrates the trade-offs and the cost benefits in between of the two commodities, diba, or two goods. So it doesn't affect it has nothing to do with decreasing costs. It has nothing to do with the scarcity in the economy kasi wala namang pinag-uusapang demand. It has nothing to do with the equity kasi yung equity, when it comes to the equity problem of income distribution, monetary na to. So wala po tayong problema doon. The illustration of PPF is basically technological knowledge and quantity. Yes, the pace of technological change. So yan, tama yung sagot ni Jenilyn. Actually, kaya lang na-late ka na. So yan, meron tayong term kanina na technological knowledge and quantity. Di ba? Meron yan sa sa illustration nung bago natin i-explain yung PPF, technological knowledge and quantity. So yeah, the right answer is letter D. 6, economic growth and technological change. Okay? A, cannot be shown by production possibility model. Okay, PPF. B, which of the following statements are true? Hindi pala kompleto tong tanong na to. Which of the following statements are true when it comes to economic growth and technological change? So A, cannot be shown by the production possibility model. B, occur only of the increase in the quantity of inputs available. C, do not necessarily shift the production possibility frontier to the same degree and amount to each of the commodities involved. D, will tend to be greater for those quantities that emphasize the current consumption. Again, first to correct first to have the correct answer. Okay, ang una pong sumagot ng tama sa number 6 ay si Mr. Ro Aksal. So, 1 point goes to Ro Aksal. Another point, yes. So, tama rin ang sagot ni Jeneline, ni Jonald, kaya lang late na kayo. So, the correct answer po is letter C. It do not necessarily shift the production possibility frontier to the same degree and amount for each of the commodities involved. Okay? So hindi siya it doesn't in essence basically kasi ang hinahanap natin dito yung statement that is true about economic growth and technological change. It doesn't necessarily hindi siya nag-shift ng production possibility frontier kung saan nagkakaroon ng changes kasi ano yung ganito na lang no. Ano yung nag-change ng ano yung nag-shift ng production possibility frontier? It's the efficiency, di ba? So, being able to provide more resources or being able to provide less resources, yan yung nag-shift. Or not being able to be efficient with the resources that we have, yan yung nag-shift ng levels of production possibility frontier when it comes to the commodities involved. Yung growth and technical change, it does not shift. Okay? Alam ko baka medyo confusing to. It does not shift the production possibility frontier. Hindi niya mababago yon. Number 7, among the major theoretical contributions of Adam Smith, actually binanggit ko to kanina, hindi ko lang alam kung na-emphasize ko siya. Okay lang kung magkamali kasi hindi ko naman masyado na-emphasize. Pero among the major theoretical contributions of Adam Smith is or are A, the notion of the invisible hand, B, the appropriate use of protectionism against low wages overseas, C, the inflation unemployment trade-off, or D, the emphasis on collective consumption and collective decision-making. Go. So ito po yung nasa libro ng The Wealth of Nations. So kung nabasa nyo na yun, alam nyo yung sagot dito actually. Actually, sinabi ko kanina pero hindi lang complete. Okay, so the right answer is the notion of the invisible hand, letter A. So yan, ang unang tamang sagot po ay si Miss Caroline Bermido. So 1 point goes to Caroline Bermido. Ang tamang sagot po is the notion of the invisible hand. So the notion of the invisible hand, kung babasahin niyo po yung Wealth of Nations, mababasa niyo dyan yung ibig sabihin ng notions of the invisible hand. It basically tackles about some people that is part of the society, kasi you and me, we're all part of the society. Some are big part of the society, some are, small, medium part of the society. Pero may mga tao, like yung mga businessman, na they have, let's say, they're doing some things that for personal interest. Okay, so meron sila mga pinapursue na mga situations or mga movements in the society for personal interest without them knowing na nakakatulong sila sa economy as a whole. So that is what we call a invisible or notion of the invisible hand. So pasok po yan sa Wealth of Nations. So dun sa mga gustong mag-aral ng economics, basahin yung Wealth of Nations. Choice is important in economics because A, people find it difficult to select what they want. B, resources are scarce in relation to people's wants. C, the need to choose makes people think about what to consume. And D, prices depend on people making choices. Actually, so lahat po ito tama, ano? Lahat po itong nandito, A to D, lahat ng sagot dito ay tama. But I want the most correct answer. I want the best answer for number 8. So choice is important in economics because A, people find it difficult. C, B, resources. C, the need to choose makes people think. And D, prices depend on people making choices. So tingnan natin ang mga sagot nyo. Okay, ang una pong nakasagot ng tama ay again ang ating outstanding student na si Miss Jeneline Dai. So 1 point goes to Jeneline Dai. The correct answer is letter B. So again, lahat po ng sagot dito tama, pero ang pinaka-accurate answer dito is B, which is the resources are scarce in relation to people's wants. Okay? So yan po yung pinaka-accurate answer dito sa choice in or importance of choice in economics. And of course, last two, alam ko hindi yung masasagot ko actually dahil hindi ko naman na-discuss yung topic na yan . Pero baka lang nabasa nyo. This is gonna be a bonus question. Siguro ako na lang sasagot niyan. So which of the following is not true about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? So meron kasing Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Actually, hindi ko na isama sa graph, hindi ko na isama sa topic natin, pero isasama ko dapat yon. Anyway, siguro next week pag-usapan natin yan. Is it A, different people have different sige, sasabihin ko na yung sagot. Alam ko, baka hindi nyo pa nabasa yung hierarchy of needs ni Maslow. So, ang tamang sagot po dito is C. Okay? It is not formulated by Adam Smith because it is formulated by Maslow. Nasa pangalan niya na nga eh. So, that's the correct answer. Ang not true, which of the following is not true about Maslow's hierarchy of needs? So, ang tamang sagot dito is C. Kasi si, okay, sige, bigyan na nga natin ng point. Umabol naman yung sagot ni Jeriel. So, 1 point goes to Jeriel. So, it is formulated by Maslow. Kaya nga po sa Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I-search nyo sa Google, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maganda yun. Actually, parang yun yung pinakita ko kanina, yung triangle. Hindi ko lang na-expound. And number 10, what term appropriately defines economics? Ito, maganda to. Kung sino pinakaunang makakasagot ng tama. Yun ang may point. What term appropriately defines economics? A, decision-making. B, budget keeping. Ito yung pinakauna nating topic kanina. C, household management. Or D, resource management. Very good po kay Ma'am Rosella. Okay, Rosella got the first answer. That is letter C. Diba? Ang paulit-ulit ko pong sinasabi kanina, economics start from yourself, from your household. So it's really all about household management. So the correct answer here is letter C. Okay, so I hope na lista ni Teacher A yung inyong mga pangalan. Diyan na po nagtatapos ang ating session for today. Umabot tayo ng almost 3 hours. I really enjoyed my time with you guys. Actually, di-discuss pa dapat natin itong Philippine economic growth. So pag-uusapan dapat natin yan, kaya lang sobrang wala na tayong time. Meron pa po akong session mamaya. Meron akong mga estudyante nag-aabang sa akin for yung ibang tinuturo ko naman for trading. So meron po akong ginawang case research for Philippine economic state last 2019. So ito po based on positive economics, okay? Ibig sabihin factual data po ang ginather ko dito. Hopefully next week if we will have another session, i-discuss ko po lahat ito. At i-discuss ko rin po lahat kung paano tayo makakapag-adjust because we are facing a recession, okay? Based on the given data available now, PMI and other surveying bodies na nakikita natin, based on the available data that we have now in the Philippines, as of today, as of April of 2020, we are going to go under or we are going to go through a great recession. So pag-usapan natin kung paano po tayo makakasurvive sa possible recession. And this is inevitable. We cannot really, nakita na namin we cannot lessen the impact. It's just we can mitigate the impact, but we cannot prevent the impact. So we can mitigate, we can lessen the impact, but we cannot control it. So i-discuss ko po sa inyong lahat next week, hopefully pag meron tayong another session, kung ano po yung ating pwedeng mga gawin. Okay? So ang topic po natin for next week is basic elements of demand and supply. And then, of course, yung Philippine economic state. So yan po yung pag-uusapan natin para mas updated kayo sa sitwasyon po ng Pilipinas. And of course, if we want to go through the proper module of economics, papasukin pa rin natin tong basic elements of demand and supply. Alright? Meron pa po ba kayong mga questions? Meron pa po bang mga follow-up questions na gustong i-confirm, gustong itanong, at gustong na hindi pa nasasagot? Meron pa po bang questions sa ating mga natitirang mga ilang mga viewers ngayon, 20 plus? Anything else you want to add, you want to ask or confirm or anything na pwede nating masagot? So doon po sa mga gustong kumonek sa akin, ang ating pong pwede niyo po akong hanapin sa Facebook. My name, and nandiyan naman po nagpa-flash sa screen sa baba, Tarik Gutierrez Tensuan. Ang Facebook page po natin ay Limitless PH Trading Limitless PH Trading Academy. So meron po akong online school where I teach people how to trade. So hindi na po to it's not just about economics, it's about trading. It's about how we trade stock market, financial markets, or commodities, and every tradable asset there is. So yan po, meron akong page, Limitless PH Training Academy. Meron din po tayong website. Let me just share my website. Makapag-promote man lang ng kahit kaunti. So that's www.limitlessphdtraining.com. So if you want to find out more about my company, yan po, www.limitlessphdtraining.com. Meron po tayong mga estudyante na tinuturuan. We teach them, again, about trading and stuff. So, my name, again, is there. Ang aking pong Facebook page ay Limitless PH Training Academy, or Trading Academy, sorry. Ang website is limitlessphdtraining.com. Kung meron po kayong Instagram, you can follow me on tgt.limitless. Okay? So, ayan po ang aking Instagram page. You can definitely follow me on at tgt.limitless. Okay? So, I guess wala nang questions, ano? So guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much all of you. Maraming salamat po. Sobrang nag-enjoy ako sa oras natin. I hope next week there will be more na magte-take advantage dito sa ating mga free lessons. Thank you very much sa mga nagstay hanggang ngayon, nandito pa. So hindi ko na kayo i-mention isa-isa. Alam niyo na kung sino kayo. Lahat na nag-participate. Maraming salamat po. At sobrang, again, appreciate ko yung time. I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed this time that I shared with you guys. And I hope we have more sessions in the future. Again, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Mag-iingat po tayong lahat. Tulungan po natin ang ating mga kababayan, lalong-lalo na yung mga frontliners. Magdasal po tayo. Mag-aral ng mabuti para doon sa mga estudyante, maging mabuting mamamayan, at maging masipag na mamamayan, at maging matulungin na mamamayan. Kasi po, tayong lahat na magkakatulungan para sa Pilipinas, para umangat ang ating ekonomiya, para umangat ang ating bansa. So again, maraming salamat po. See you guys again next week. Ako po ulit si Tarik. And maraming salamat. Be a knowledgeable person and be more hungry, or be hungrier for knowledge. Have that kind of passion for knowledge. Yun lang po ang iiwan kong salita sa inyo. Again, God bless. And mag-iingat po kayong lahat. Ingat po tayo. Social distancing. Follow ECQ guidelines. God bless everybody from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Once again, Tarik signing off. See you guys next week. God bless po. Bye-bye.